This is the Screaming Pods Network on screamingpods.com.
Something's coming.
Stand by. Hold on to your hats, here we go.
Welcome to the Screamcast, episode 160. I am Sean Duregger, and with me, as always, is Stephanie Crawford.
Hello.
With me when he wants to, and when it fits his schedule in Hollywood, is Brad Hollywood Henderson.
Hey, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Hollywood, Florida, Henderson.
We're just jealous, that's all. We're just, you lead a life that causes a lot of jealousy, and I take that out on you in these little sarcastic jabs. So,
thank you.
Today on the Screamcast, we are going to be talking. Where'd my screenshot go? We are talking some Graveyard Shift, Force of Lost Souls, and the Ladies Club, not in that particular order. But before we get to that, we have a special guest that's going to be swinging by. Tom McLoughlin, director of Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, Part 6. Probably one of my favorite in the series. He is in a new movie that is hitting all the festivals. The movie's called Rock Steady Row. So we'll be talking about that and I'm sure many other things, including his band, The Sloths. But before we do all that, let's jump into what's on our doorstep.
Holy cow, I almost forgot.
We'll get the door.
All right, Stephanie, what have you been watching?
So I've been enjoying my local video store, which is the only video store in Las Vegas anymore, Movies and Candy. And I've just been having a lot of fun diving into their catalog because the dude has a crazy horror section. Because he's actually a horror fan. Although he's the one who told me that Popcorn was the American remake of Demons. And I had to break it to him. That wasn't true. But other than that, he's great.
That's a hot take right there.
So a long time ago, I was pretty early in my horror watching career. I checked out Basket Case because it's beloved. And I was very excited, but I didn't like it the first time I saw it. And I always felt really guilty about that, especially since I love Helen Lauder's other movies. So when Joe Bob Briggs came back and did his last drive-in and did Basket Case, I was super excited because it was the perfect opportunity to kind of feed off his love of it and rediscover it now that I've seen like hundreds upon hundreds of more horror movies since then. And thankfully, I loved it. I got it. And I appreciated it. So I rented the second and third one, which I have seen before, but it was a long time. The second one, it's a great escalation. Of course, we have Dwayne and Belial, separated brothers. They used to be conjoined. Dwayne's your regular fella, and Belial's like a evil killer sentient tumor, and he carries around in a basket. And the first one's pretty much set in an apartment building, and the second one, it kind of grows, and they get adopted by a woman who takes care of quote unquote freaks, and very, very elaborate makeup. That's wonderful. And I loved it. And I liked the second one a lot more than the first one. And the third one, I think like the first 20 minutes is the second movie. They just used old footage. And the
He's
budget
talking.
is cut a lot, but they're like, screw it, we're still going to go for the prosthetics. So it was a fun revisit. It's such a weird trilogy, but I think it has like a real like quirky, plucky heart to it, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm glad I gave them a chance again.
Yeah, I'm with you. The first time I think I saw Basket Case, I was younger, and I did not enjoy it. I don't think I even watched the second and third one. And then a few years ago, I bought that Steelbook with the 3 from Second Sight put it out or something?
Yeah, Second Sight.
And I got it cheap, so I was like, okay, this is something I haven't seen. And I watched it, and I ended up really liking the first one, and then I love the second one, and I'm not a fan of the third one still. But the second one's fun because there's like additional monsters and shit. So, wait, is that the second one? Or is that the third one? No, that's the second one.
Yeah.
That's Moonface? Yeah.
Yeah, and he shows up in the third one. He just doesn't look as good.
Yeah. It's that's actually David Image. That is Moonface in that movie. So, just a heads up for those who like David Image. It's weird that he's in the movie like that, but I guess he didn't really go on to do anything after Dawn of the Dead, and he's just like slapped in a fucking makeup.
So. Yeah. So I take it you have the Arrow release of the first one, or just
I have the Arrow release of the first one, and then I still have the Steelbook because I didn't buy the Synapse releases for the other two. I think they put them out.
It's great, right? Because now I feel like I need to get it.
Every time someone talks about the Arrow version, I'm like, damn it, I need to get that. But I already have the 3-pack, so I'm like, keep talking myself out of it. But the only thing that makes me want to buy it is I guess there's this really cool documentary on the Arrow.
That's what's talking me into it.
Well, also, it looks
companies.
really good. Second Sight does shoddy work, so it was a nice little upgrade. I mean, I know that the Synapse ones are going to be better. And eventually I'll pick those up and sell the Steelbook for probably $500. But
first dibs.
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see. Oh man, people are stupid. They'll buy that in a heartbeat. But yeah, eventually maybe when I go to rewatch them again, because I just I watched Basket Case twice in the past like month or two because it was on Joe Bob. And then the Arrow release came out, so I watched that. I think I actually ended up watching the Arrow release and then the Joe Bob. But it was fun with the Joe Bob thing because I got to watch it with Willow, and she thought it was super weird. Oh my god!
So did she dig Joe Bob?
Yeah, she really liked it. She was very upset that because basically, I mean, everybody knows about the whole fucking shit that went on. So what happened is I said, okay, screw it. So I just pulled up my phone, right? And Shudder streamed fine from my phone pretty much the entire night. So what I did is I synced it up to where the movie was playing, and then I just plugged in my phone and put my phone up to the side. And so when Joe Bob would come in, I would pause the Blu-ray on the television and then turn up the volume and then watch Joe Bob on the phone. Because I couldn't get it to work anyway. I was going to watch 9 movies on my fucking phone or however movies they play.
Yeah, that seems like a very inconvenient way to watch a movie.
So I just put it up on the side. So every time he got to speak, I pulled it up. But what was really funny is that I wrote Joe Bob an email a couple weeks before the Shudder thing, and then I got an email back, and it was personalized. Like, I just thought it would just be kind of just this, like, blanket email that they send out, because I remember writing to R.L. Stein when I was little, and I got a letter back.
Yeah.
But it was just a fucking photocopy of the fucking letter.
Yes,
and
exactly.
It wasn't
and look
personalized
forward
or anything.
to the next one.
Yeah, and it's like, whatever. But
I wrote Jim Henson once. Not Jim Henson.
Who?
Jim Davis. Sorry. Jim Davis.
The Garfield guy.
Yeah, I got an email back. And I wasn't sure if it was a photocopied autograph or like a real autograph.
It was photocopied.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Joe Bob like wrote about, because I told him about, watching it with my kid. This is a big deal for me because this is kind of what sparked Joe Bob and my mother were two, proponents of, me watching films and encouraging me to branch out and watch a bunch of stuff. I used to watch Joe Bob with my mom too. I think it was like on Thursday nights on Monster Vision or something. We'd stay up late. Every Friday was a bitch going to school because I was so tired. But I wrote about that stuff, and then he wrote back talking about that and talking about Willow. Like, how it's cool that I'm doing that, and, he'll promise that he'll deliver next time for Willow since it was kind of an upset. I just thought it was like, if he's got like people writing emails, that's a pretty cool thing to do. Personally, I probably think it's him because that's kind of how he is with his fans. He does write back, like he controls all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Willow enjoyed Basket Case. I forgot how weird it kind of got at the end. But I mean, I don't know. I'm a bad parent in the sense I let her watch a lot of crazy stuff. So
nah, she's what, like 13, 14?
Yeah, she's 13.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
And that's not that deep for her, because I mean, you really don't see much other than him running through the street. So I just had her put her head down for that portion. But then I forgot like how weird it is when Blau like is on top of the woman.
Yeah.
And it was like I forgot about it. I was like, oh, that's right. Yeah, that's weird. I just let it slide, see what happens, and Willow just goes, what's going on? But
it's
anyways.
Fine. You're good. You're a good parent, Brad. It's fine. I'm either you're being encouraged by another bad parent, or I think that kind of stuff's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What else have you been watching, Stephanie?
Okay. Well, I figure since we can all talk about it, I watched Puppet Master: The Littlest Reich.
Yes. Brad, have you watched it yet?
I watched it a long time ago.
Oh, humble brag, bro. Humble brag. Fine, whatever.
Hollywood.
I don't have too much to say about the new Puppet Master.
Oh, shut the hell up, man. Okay, I'll let Stephanie talk. Stephanie, what did you think about Puppet Master: The Last Reich?
No, he's on a podcast. He can't get away with that.
What did you think? Because that's all I really care about. I don't care about Brad's opinion right now.
Sure. Okay. Well, it's interesting because I thought I would feel really certain about it one way or the other, whether like I thought it was crazy fun, or I'm like, it's too dumb, I can't take it. And it wasn't either one. It's the first one that Charles Band didn't do himself, and you can really tell.
Yeah.
It's like if you're coming for like classic Puppet Master, you are not going to get it. The puppets look different. The feeling is different. The puppets themselves are the Nazis this time. I mean, there's nothing. And I actually read an interview with Charles Band where he seems kind of taken aback by the choices. He's like, yeah, puppets are Nazis. It's a lot meaner spirited than what the movies I made are. But hey, there's a lot of competition these days. So you got to make everything crazy.
I haven't seen the originals in so long. And so were they just because this one, they're basically part of like the final solution. Like they're searching out certain kinds of people to take them out. And that's kind of and they were used, I guess, created to be used by Hitler to be part of the final solution back in World War II. What was the original intent of the puppets? I really want to revisit them, and I haven't seen them since. Oh man, it's been years.
Yeah, I like this series, but I do get it jumbled, so I apologize for any mistakes, and hopefully Brad will.
I think as it goes on, they kind of throw things out the window and just kind of reinvent it a lot.
Well, it starts out. There's nothing. They're just straight bad little puppets.
Right.
Like there's no backstory, anything special. And then as the series goes on, they're not Nazis. They were made almost to fight Nazis.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting change then.
Yeah.
But I as coming into it, kind of, since I didn't remember the old ones as well, I just remember the puppets. I had a lot of fun with it. Barbara Crampton was kind of channeling Phil Hartman from So I Married an Ex-Murderer a little bit in the beginning tour.
Okay.
Did you get that feel? I was expecting her to say, and he cut out the bitch's eyes. I was waiting for her to
I
just
did
say
really
that line.
like her in it, but I'm not sure I remember.
No, it's a different. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I really liked our lead character, played by Thomas Lennon.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him. I was like, wow, he's gonna be in a Puppet Master movie.
I think he was really good in it. I really liked him.
He's really naturalistic. He wasn't. He was like low key natural funny. He wasn't hamming it up at all. Yeah.
And then there's just this over the top gore. I just kind of sat back. I had a drink, maybe a smoke, a little something, and I had a lot of fun with it. So, I wasn't expecting it. It was a Puppet Master movie. So it's like, there's like not any gigantic expectations. And as long as I was entertained and the gore was off the charts, I liked our lead actor, Thomas Lennon. Charlene Yee is in it, and she's a lot of fun.
I like seeing her again.
And then, of course, Barbara Crampton. But I dug it. I dug it a lot. So, I don't know.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it as well. It really does seem like it either kind of pissed people off or really disappointed them, or they're like, "Oh, it's crazy, man! It's like the best thing ever." I'm kind of in the middle. I'm like, well, I think it's interesting because I think it'd be a waste of time for someone who isn't Charlie Band to make a Puppet Master movie and have it just copy his formula and copy the beats. So I think it was a great idea for them to go a completely different direction.
Did you feel like it was missing a little bit of momentum? Because I saw a kind of a criticism of it that way, where it kind of didn't, reach like momentum or whatever. But I'm not sure I agree with that. But.
Well, my issue was I love the beginning. I love how they established the characters because they were actually interesting. I actually liked spending time with them. But yeah, I think once they got to the hotel and our lead characters became more background characters, it slowed down and got a little too piecemeal-y for me. And probably my biggest criticism is the original Puppet Masters were really into the personalities of the puppets.
Right.
And this one, nothing. There's literally nothing except for how they looked.
And there's kind of like repeats of the same puppet because obviously the whole idea is they're going to this 30-year anniversary of this like massacre in this hotel, and people are bringing all these puppets, and there's obviously like copies, I guess, of different versions of the same puppet. So it got a little confusing once a certain puppet gets dispatched, and then you see it show up again, and you're like, well, is that the same one? So I get it, but like I said, I just kind of sat back and enjoyed the ride, and just it's a new Puppet Master movie, and I know the original series is disjointed already, so I wasn't really expecting too much as far as like canon, so. But it's out, and it was like 99 cents to buy on Amazon Prime. So I paid like less than $1 to own it.
Yeah,
so,
it's definitely.
So it's like I couldn't really
99 cents. Yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I had fun with it.
Yeah.
But I do know Puppet Master fans are super, super passionate. So I'm a little. If you just want a fun killer puppet movie, it's definitely worth your time. But if you're a hardcore Puppet Master fan, well, you've probably already seen it, but in case you're a little worried about it, just go in knowing that you're not going to get classic Puppet Master. You're going to get new Coke Puppet Master.
Or new Coke Zero Sugar Puppet Master. Which I'm drinking right now.
I've learned to accept.
I've joined the dark side. Awesome. What else you got?
No, I'm moving on.
Okay. I'll run through these really quick, and then I'll let Brad take up the next 2 hours with what he's been watching. Does that sound good?
That's why I keep mine short.
Brad, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just letting you go, man.
All right, really quick. I got the movie Pie Wacket from Scream Factory, and if you're a fan of kind of heavy metal occult type Wiccan witchcraft horror, there's a lot to dig. this girl. It's very low key, like minimal characters. There's 3 probably main characters in it, and it's this daughter and her mom, and they kind of have this strained relationship because the father apparently has died, and to deal with the grief, the mom decides to move out to this cabin in the woods, and the daughter, of course, she's like 15 or 16, and she's pissed. She's her and her friends are kind of into the occult, kind of studying all this stuff, and her and her mom get in this like huge fight that she decides to go out to the woods and perform a dark magic ritual to summon Pyewacket that eventually will basically take out her mom. So she like, not really thinking it would really work or whatever, but she kind of does this little ritual to basically off her mom, and it kind of goes from there. Fun little occult horror movie. I liked the use of metal in it, of course. It almost could be considered a heavy metal movie, maybe. But I think it's really well done. It's tense in some parts. You kind of don't... It keeps you on your toes. And I would definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. I know it's gotten... A lot of people have kind of dug it. I hadn't heard anything about it, and then I heard it was good, so I was like, well, I'll take a chance on it. So I had a lot of fun with it. So Pyewacket.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Check it out. Next, on one I was kind of on the fence with, but it had been hyped up quite a bit, is a movie called Revenge, and by Coralie Fargiat. Pronounced that wrong.
That's perfect. Look at that name.
I don't know what I was expecting. This goes like, it turns into kind of this like dark fantasy revenge film. It's definitely not grounded in realism, and I was kind of expecting it to be a more realistic film, but early on you kind of realize like, oh, this girl should have been dead a long time ago, and she's like has like superhero strength throughout the film, and she kind of recovers quickly from really what you would think would be a mortal injury. But the performances are strong. Our lead character, who
Oh,
is
here
it?
we go. Another name.
Matilda Lutz, is fantastic. She's this strong, badass. Well, she kind of grows into this kind of badass character, and it's a rape revenge thriller, and it took me a while to kind of adjust to the heightened sense of it. And normally I'm fine. Like normally I'm like, but I think I'd felt as it started that this was going to be a more grounded revenge film. It's not. It turns into kind of like this R-rated like superhero type revenge film. In a sense, she's very superhero centric because she just can't die. And but it's good. Some over the top gore that took me out of the like. This not realistic at all. It turns into like this gore film. And I was wondering what you guys thought about it, because once it ended, I was like, well, I kind of liked it, but it kind of went for laughs in the gore department more than I thought that maybe a film like this should. But I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are.
I'll let Steph talk first.
No, go ahead.
I'll say I've seen it again. I'll say the same thing I did on one of the episodes where I talked about it. I don't like it. No, like I was expecting more out of the film, and it's like one of these things where since like it was like, oh, a rape revenge movie directed by a female, and I'm thinking, okay, that could be interesting. But I feel like you wouldn't be able to tell. It still has that male gaze. Like, I mean, for some reason, she keeps losing clothes throughout the film, and we just have her ass shot, like going up the hill,
but we do see a lot of penis. So, and no female
penis.
Yeah.
No full frontal from the female, from the female, I guess. Well, but a lot of peen.
Yeah. Well, there's also, they edited that movie too. The version that we saw before was more graphic.
Huh.
So I know that they cut that down because the rape scene is,
no,
you get to see that a little bit more than how it's off screen in the new cut.
I'm glad they did it off screen. I just you know.
But yeah, I just feel that it like there's nothing like the mythological like mythos thing with like I don't know like I like the mythology of like the fucking like eagle and shit like that. I just like burning the thing into her skin and
also
lifting
that would have
herself
been
off the tree.
That would have been backwards. The lettering would have been backwards, but it's not, and that really bothered me.
But like all that stuff, I just was like, there's nothing different about this movie. Like, why don't we make her to the point where she, like, I mean, even I Spit on Your Grave, like, which I don't like, but I do prefer that sense of using like grounded reality in order to show that, you know, a woman could fight back rather than having these supernatural abilities that come in. And when I say supernatural, it's not like, you know, she's fucking shooting lightning bolts out of her fingers, but like to the point where, yeah, she can't die. She's like superhuman and everything like that. And then they have that Scooby-Doo ending, like where they're running around in the house and like door to door. And I'm like waiting for Shaggy and Scooby to like pop up. Like, it's just laughable, I think. And I still can't get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it twice, 3 times.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just like it more and more each time. And I was like, after I saw it in the theater, I was like, okay, you know, everybody was raving about it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I just missed something. And I watched it again, and I was like, this is still fucking ridiculous, you know. And I just don't see, I don't understand the love for it either, because I don't really think, like, you know, people say, well, it's a female director. I was like, well, it doesn't matter. Like, it's great that, you know, she's making a movie, but like, I don't see any benefit of that in a way other than a female getting a movie on the screen. Like, I just think it's a regular movie. I don't think it's in the aspect of, you know, like something like Slumber Party Massacre that's directed by a woman. There's a lot of shit in that movie that's funny, where you can tell, like, even something as silly as that, you can view that movie and see the aspect and the comedy behind a woman actually directing that. I don't know. I'm just not into it at all.
Stephanie, did you see Revenge yet?
No, I still haven't seen it.
Okay. Yeah, I the guys are all sleazeballs, and they're kind of, I mean, I maybe like from that perspective, but I just didn't like the heightened reality of it in a film like this, where I think it would have been a stronger film if it was a little more grounded, if the punches felt a little more severe, if you actually felt that she was like in pain, because at first you're like, holy shit, like this, she's not gonna survive this. How is this even gonna go on? And then somehow she does, and then it just goes into kind of, you know, Daredevil territory. Like, she's Daredevil, you know, she can survive pretty much anything, and it kind of takes the impact of...
You say Daredevil, you mean Deadpool, right?
Deadpool.
Because Daredevil's blind.
Daredevil's blind, and Ben Affleck.
Elektra.
Deadpool, I apologize. Someone's going to make fun of me online for that. But yeah.
I will.
Deadpool. She's Deadpool. So that kind of takes the impact away from me for it a little bit. But I still have fun with it. Like, it's a good little exploitation thriller. But I mean, it was nothing... I don't know. It's very stylized.
And plus, like, she's like, I don't, like, in the beginning, she's just this, like, small little, like, not meek, but, like, very, like, mousy character that really doesn't, like, you don't know what's going on. And then she gets taken advantage of, and then she's left for dead. Yeah. And I'm like, I just wanted more to the character, because I feel that her role in the beginning of the film, she's not a very good person. Like, what is to like about the character other than, like, these guys are worse than she is? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no, like, it's not his fiance, it's his fling that he's cheating on his wife with at a, like, hidden little home.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like a lot of things rub me the wrong way, and I don't understand why it's so loved. And I just hope it's not because it's a female director directing the movie. I don't believe that's a free pass in that sense. Like I still think that, we have to view a movie as a movie. Yes, it's amazing that a fucking woman is directing a rape revenge movie and it blew up. I'm thankful for that. But I still think the movie's not in the sense of good. But that's just me. I mean, obviously, there's something there that people love because it's so popular and people do like it. But, I mean, I just hope that we're not so much in a PC world where we automatically have to say something's great, in the world that we live in, even how shitty it really is. Yeah.
Like I said, I kind of
maybe I'm an asshole. Maybe I'm an asshole for
You're
saying
an asshole,
that,
Brad.
But
No, I settled into it once I kind of thought like, oh, this is a superhero movie. This is a superhero revenge film, and she's a superhero. The peyote somehow made her superhuman, and we can go on from there. But anyway, I can respect it.
I forgot about that.
I can respect it.
God.
But the peyote part, and then the fact that she does this, burns the symbol into her stomach, and it's not reversed from what you saw. You can still read.
Oh my God, Sean, that's like the least.
There's just no way it would be that way.
Problematic with the movie.
It drive me crazy. All right, moving along. I watched the movie.
How about if we talk positive things? Like it's shot really well. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, no, I've said that. It's
the editing's great, other than the Scooby-Doo ending.
And the human body does not hold that much blood that we see in this film. It's an elevated superhero movie, and it's fine as that. It's just it kind of presented itself as this kind of gritty, realistic, revenge film, and that's what I wanted. And then it just goes, which is fine if that's the movie it wants to be. It's just kind of, it just loses any major impact, and you don't really you don't care because you know that if she survived in the first 20 minutes, if she survives that, there's no way she's gonna die, and that's just how I felt, and I didn't feel she was in any peril after that. All right, moving on. I watched
Steph was gonna say something.
Oh, what's that, Stephanie? Sorry.
Oh, just that from the trailer, I did get the idea that was kind of a heightened reality movie more than a super realistic one.
I didn't watch the trailer, so I went in completely blind.
It is a great trailer. It has, instead of critics praising the film, it's like
that's right,
shitty guys from the internet saying crap about it.
Like Brad Henderson saying crap about it. No. Okay, no. Yeah, I heard about the trailer. That's genius marketing.
Yeah, the trailer is great. Yeah.
All right, moving along. I watched a movie called The Monster. Brad, you talked about this. Directed by the director of The Strangers, and I did not like this movie. Cool monster though. Moving on. Joe Dante's Burying the X. I finally watched.
Quote unquote monster.
Quote unquote monster. Burying the X by Joe Dante. For some reason I hadn't seen it, and it's Anton Yelchin, of course. May he rest in peace. But basically, him and his girlfriend, they're not doing well, and he's gonna break up with her. She ends up dying, but due to some sort of voodoo curse thing in his little horror shop that he works at, she comes back from the dead, and she's like one of those crazy ex-girlfriends, but she's a zombie. But meanwhile, he, of course, has met a super cute little Olivia, played by Alexandria Daddario. Super cute ice cream shop owner, and he likes her, but zombie ex-girlfriend's getting in the way. It's okay.
I thought it was cute.
It's cute. No, it's fine. It you know what? It's the first like 3/4 of the film feels like a PG-13 film, because I was like, this is rated R. I was like, I didn't feel the R-ratedness of it, and then it kind of goes into zombie territory near the end, and it's great.
Well, it's like Gremlins, it's a nice Christmas picture until it isn't.
Yeah. What I like about like Joe Dante really kind of brings in the whole LA. There's all these little LA references that are great, and they watch, of course, like Night of the Living Dead in a graveyard. I think they really do that. And and all the little shops, and then the theaters, some of the like the New Beverly's in it, and I've been to the New Beverly before, and so it's kind of fun to see that kind of stuff. But a fun little movie. Yeah, it's it's pretty fun. Little harmless little Joe Dante film, and he needs to keep making movies, and I feel like he hasn't had like a really huge hit, lately, and it's just. From the director of like The Burbs, one of my favorite comedies of all time, I'm waiting for him to kind of get just one more, classic in there. And then finally, two more things. Umbrella Films released Razorback. They upgraded it. They remastered it in 4K apparently, and they released it on this Beyond Genres cool little series. And it's
Man, I want that.
It's a lot of fun. It looks fantastic because I have the old Blu-ray. The old Blu-ray just looked like shit, but it was like, it's Razorback on Blu-ray. It's fine, whatever. But they really outdid themselves with this. I don't know why this hasn't gotten like a stateside region A release.
It will. Fucking Warner Archive owns it.
I know, and I've talked to Matt over at Warner Archive, and he loves it. And apparently the bigwigs over there at Warner Brothers don't think it'll do well. But this
put the dumbest movies on Blu-ray. It'll be fine.
But he even helped. Like he told me there was a restoration going on, and they even screened it. But like there's no announcement, and then Umbrella beats them to the punch and releases a region-free, awesome Blu-ray with amazing artwork. A shit ton of special features, and so I'm gonna say
same with Road Games.
Warner Archive, you guys missed out. Sorry, Umbrella killed it. So everyone buy the Umbrella release of Razorback.
Damn, throwing shade on the fucking show.
Yeah, throwing shade. Matt's on my side. He knows what's up. Matt, you know what's up. We're buds. And then finally, Dagon got a couple of. Is that pronounced Dagon? Dagon. Got two releases. Umbrella did release it, Region B Blu-ray, and then with like their artwork, they're killing it with the artwork on this Beyond Genres series here. And then of course Vestron Video released a Blu-ray of it, and of course the Vestron Video one is probably twice as much as the Umbrella one, and it's the exact same transfer. And the only difference is there are a couple commentaries and some extra interviews on the Vestron Video release. So if you just want the movie, and if you can find it for cheaper, and you have I haven't tested to see if this is region free. I think it might be. But if you guys want to hit me up, and I'll test it out, hit me up and let me know. Twitter, Sean C. Duregger. But I love this flick. I'm glad it's on Blu-rays. I've had the DVD forever. Looks fantastic. So either way, it looks great. Some people were kind of saying, it looks like it got digitally cleaned or whatever. It looks fine to me. It doesn't look like when they did this whole digital reworking of Predator, like all that waxing bullshit. I think it looks good.
Yeah, I love it too,
film.
and I think it suffers that it does look great, but the CGI effects were a little iffy at the time. It really lets you see them, and that might be throwing people off.
Well, that was the problem with the DVD too. It's just those effects were never going to get better. There's just no way. So it's just you got to kind of have to roll with it. But everything else of the film, but that scene, the effect of the guy ripping off his face is just one of the best gore gags I think I've seen in any film. So it's worth it for that. But yeah, the CG effects do kind of take you out of it a little bit. But if you're a fan of this film, you haven't seen it or whatever, it's one of the few really good Lovecraftian type films out there. And it for what it is, I just said for what it is. Mike Delaney's going to give me some shit now. It looks pretty great on Blue.
Neat.
And with that sip of Coke, Zero Sugar, and whiskey, I'm moving this on to Brad.
All right, I'm going to blow through so much shit right now.
Blow it.
I might spend 5 seconds on a movie. All right, so I rewatched Ghost Watch with Willow because she's never seen it. And I remember watching Ghost Watch as I was a kid, and it frightened me. So I rewatched it, movie's still kind of creepy, man. Like, I got creeped out again, and I knew what was going on. Mr. Pipes is just fucking terrifying, even though we don't really get to see too much of Mr. Pipes. He's like in like, I think like 6 or 7 scenes very, very quickly, but it's still super creepy. But yeah, Ghost Watch is great. It's streaming on Shudder, I believe. It really holds up. It really paved the way for a lot of these kind of found footage horror films. And also, you know, it pulled from one of the Warren stories, which when you're watching Ghost Watch, if you haven't seen it, you're going to say, man, this is a lot like The Conjuring 2 at one point. And that's because it is. It's based off that story in the beginning anyway. Watch The Strangers. Oh, did we talk about The Strangers too? Because I got to rewatch that and I saw a different edit.
I've seen it. I don't think I've brought it in. I don't think I've really. Did I talk about it at all?
I think you did.
I think I briefly did.
It's fine. Like,
yeah, I saw it too.
I know they shortened it up a little bit. It was shorter this time around, which is fine. I like how it's an open area and not like in a house. The entire time. I think the music's a lot of fun. The pool scene's a lot of fun. It's a fine movie. It's a fine rainy day movie to be entertained.
Yeah.
So next up, Tomb Raider. I didn't hate it, which was weird.
I loved it, dude.
I thought
of fun
it was
with
fine. I would watch a sequel. I like to see that Roar is doing American films, so hopefully he does more. He's a hell of a director. If you haven't seen like Cold Prey and Escape and The Wave, I highly suggest checking those out. They're a lot of fun.
What did you think of Alicia Vikander as Laura Croft?
Yeah, she's great. She's very charismatic. I just wish that they did more with her as far as dialogue rather than action, but it's fine.
You get to kind of like her in the first kind of 15 minutes, and then it kind of goes from there. But yeah, no, she's great. I think she's perfect as Laura Croft. I watched this with my daughter, and she just loved it. So she just
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I really hope this gets a sequel.
Willow dug it too.
Yeah, I hope this made enough money on its home video release that it gets a sequel, because it's a solid film. Like, I don't get people trashing it, because it's, it's good, man. Walton Goggins is in it. I mean, come on, it's the Goggins.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't.
I loved it.
Don't ejaculate.
I've actually heard mostly positive things about it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people think, Tomb Raider, oh shit, it was actually okay. Like, I was one of those people. So next up, this is a Blu-ray actually released by Shout Factory. Eventually got around to seeing this. I bought this a couple years ago and never watched it. But it's called Brazilian Western. It mixes in like genre films and of course Western and set in Brazil. And it's about kind of a drug trafficking thing. Some shit goes wrong, and it's about a bunch of dudes with drug dealers, but it's not a drug gangster movie like that. It has a Western element that's a lot of fun. It's set in modern times, but it has this Western feel. It's very, very unique style of filmmaking and everything based in, like I said, present day Brazil, but drug trafficking and drug dealers, but with a Western touch, like all Western. I thought that was really, really cool. Very good movie, a really fun story, great music, great soundtrack, great score as well. It's definitely one of those up there. I hope more people get to see it, because I remember hearing about it and then buying it and then forgot that I had it and then never heard anybody talk about it at all. So definitely check it out.
What's it called again, Brad? One more time for the listeners.
Brazilian Western. Pretty easy to remember.
Western. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That sounds cool.
Next up, I really was excited to watch this. This is a horror anthology that was directed by the Red Letter guys. They did The Barn. It was one of the Justin. What's his name? Justin Seaman is his name. Simon, maybe. Siemens just sounds weird as a last name. I'm pretty sure it's not that. But anyways, it's his horror anthology, appropriately titled 1031, which all takes place on Halloween night. A mixtures of stories, kind of the old hag story, vampires, killer kids, stuff like that. It's fine. It's by the other directors is the guy that did Bone Jangles, which is a Wild Eye movie, no big deal, and the Volumes of Blood horror anthology. So if you like, weird, cheap horror films like The Barn, 1031 is definitely for you. Watched because I had Shudder for a month here because I signed up for it for Joe Bob, and I watched a movie on there I've never even heard of, Little Aaron Merriweather. Do not watch that movie. We're moving on. I got around to watching. I was really excited about this because I don't know how I kept missing it because I had chances to see it, but I always passed up. Yeah, I believe the director's named Damien Leone. He directed a short called Terrifier back in the day, and then he made a movie called All Hallows Eve, which was Terrifier and a short mixed in with a horror anthology dragging out to a feature. And most of the shorts featured Art the Clown. So he eventually got around to doing Terrifier the movie, which is a feature with Art the Clown. Art is terrifying. I'm not scared of clowns, but this motherfucker's the creepiest son of a bitch in the room. Terrifier is brutal as fuck. The short was brutal and very mean. And I was like, are they going to do that with the movie? They actually step it up a little bit and just start slaughtering everybody. I mean, there's a sequence where a woman's hanging upside down and he decides to take a saw and put it in her vagina and then start cutting down, splitting her in half.
Jesus.
That's the type of shit that we're watching. Yeah. It's a lot of fun in the sense because it's mean-spirited, but it's not gross. I don't know. There's a certain tone to the movie where it doesn't really hit in that note. Yeah, I still had a lot of fun with it. And Art's creepy still, and it does take a couple turns where you don't think it's going to. Like we just start killing everybody, even like you have all this cast, and it's just like, you know what, Art's kind of the star of this movie, so he's not gonna die. But anyways, it's a lot of fun. It's fun for gore heads and shit like that. I got to watch The Incredibles 2. It's so fucking good. It's stupid. It's so good. It's ridiculous. It's so funny. Yeah. I was laughing out loud in the theater hysterically. So was Willow. Like this belly laughs. Podcast. Horror movie. Fuck podcast. It, man. Who gives a shit? No, this is a movie podcast. And I watch movies.
It is a solid sequel. Yes.
Oh my god, it's so good. Watched Ready Player One. Garbage.
Fuck you.
Don't get me started on that book.
What?
It's terrible. That's one of the worst books ever written.
I've never read the book. All I know is, here's the deal.
The movie's terrible too.
One second.
If ever I deeply begrudge someone their success, usually I don't bother with that. This guy, did you ever see that documentary about them digging up the E.T. Atari game?
No, that just sounds boring.
No, the writer of it, Ernest Cline, he just shows up. He's like, I'm going to show up. And he friggin' shows up to them digging up the E.T. game out of the desert in the DeLorean they used in the movie with like a giant stuffed E.T. And I already hated this guy's book. And I was just sitting there in my chair.
Well, look, I have not read the book.
I like fanboys. Fanboys.
I went to this.
Make a few more movies. He got one of the last Spielberg movies.
I know. So look, I watched this with my kids, and they're super into like VR and all this stuff, and their imaginations were just going at this whole idea of.
I'm sure it'd be fun as an 8-year-old. Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So. And
we're talking about adults.
Right? No, I know. Yeah, but listen,
I don't give a shit what a kid likes.
Listen,
Jacob and Danny and Noah are going to watch that movie when they're like in 30 years, and they're going to say, "Daddy, you're a piece of shit for making us watch this."
All right, well, but it opened up they started asking about all these other Spielberg movies and all these other 80s movies,
No,
and it kind
I'm totally on board with kids. Kids
it
liking
brought,
that.
What about
brought them into the
Iron
fold.
Giant? Have
But
you
I had a
showed
lot of
them
fun
that?
with it. I don't know. And then the Shining sequence is so fun. I don't understand the like.
Sean, have you showed them the Iron Giant yet?
Of
Show 'em The
course, I've
Shining,
shown them.
fuck that.
Of course, they've watched the Iron
Okay.
Giant like so
That's
many
just to make
times.
sure.
Look, the Iron
All
Giant's a
right.
better movie than Ready
So-
Player One. But
So moving on.
all right, moving on. Sorry. Okay.
Watched. I don't know if I talked about this, but Game Night.
Oh yeah.
Definitely one of the best movies of the year.
So
Top
funny.
10 for sure. It's
It's a
fucking
lot of
hysterical. Pacific Rim 2, not so much. Garbage.
Nah.
Isle of Dogs. I didn't get to see this at South by. I loved Isle of Dogs a
Oh, I
lot.
saw that too. Yeah, it's great.
It's
And
fantastic.
not because I am a dog lover, which I am. So I'm biased. I'm gonna love anything with puppies.
Are you a Wes Anderson lover?
Yes. I would say I like Wes Anderson. I don't love Wes Anderson, but I do
Doing a
enjoy most of his
musical.
movies. I don't like Fantastic Mr. Fox though.
Oh.
Same here.
So-
So I was a
Yeah.
little worried, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I was a little worried about Isle of Dogs because I know it kind of had that thing, but no, it was really good.
It's better than it's better than Fantastic Mr. Fox. If you watch the special features, they do these interviews with the dogs. Like everyone's in character, and it's all animated. It's hilarious. So worth a watch if you buy the Blu-ray.
Let's see here. And I watched Agfa's release of God Monster of Indian Flats. And I can't remember if I saw it. I thought I did. And the movie's goofy as fuck. A lot of fun, though. Because it's really silly. Watched Mission Impossible 6. Not for me at all. Next up, spend a couple more seconds on this one. So I've never seen this film. This is from Eureka Overseas, Masters of the Cinema. But Eureka released Cure by Kiyoshi, Kiyoshi, I guess is the first name. Kurosawa, not related to Akira Kurosawa at all. But anyways, this movie Cure. And I love this movie so fucking much. I didn't want this movie to end. It is so fucking good. It is these detectives that are tracking down a killer in Tokyo. And it is so unsettling. It's fucking scary as shit. And one of the best movies I've seen in a long, long, long fucking time. Like, it is such a mind fuck of a movie and gets under your skin. I was not expecting it. I was just watching, like, I thought I was going to watch some, like, police procedural where police get out of hand and take matters in their own hands, like a lot of, Japanese and Korean films do, where it's like cops don't really wear the badge. But no, this is very much like a couple dudes like digging deep into this serial killer that is tearing people apart. And if you look at the poster, there's an X, and that X means a lot. When I first saw it, I was like, why is there an X? And then you get to see it in the movie and you're like, oh shit, fuck my life. But yeah,
That's an X.
probably one of the best, one of the best films I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
Completely floored me. I was
So
like,
Eureka released.
yeah, and it's a really, really nice release too. It's
Well, they do great work.
Yeah, the transfer is great, and it really works because the cinematography in this movie is so unsettling as well. The way it's shot, the shadows, kind of the fever dreamish look that it has, it's perfect, all around perfect. So I was really excited because some of these films came out and I bought them because I've heard good things about this one, which is directed by the same guy. It's called Creepy, so another film by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. This one is Oh my God. So it is this, and it's another kind of police thing dealing with another killer, but a completely different film. Like I watched them back to back. I was really excited because Cure hit me so hard. I was like, all right, so let's watch. Cure's like from the early 90s, or actually no, 1997, and this is 2016. This is another Eureka release. And they do such good packaging too. But anyways, this one is, again, another unsettling film. It's about a detective who has retired because of an injury, and he moves away with everything with his wife, and they move into this little place, and they introduce himself to the neighbors. But there's one neighbor that's really, really weird, just acts really odd, like he has something wrong with him. And then one day he's talking to the daughter of the creepy man, and she runs up to him and whispers and says, "Don't say anything, but that man's not my father." And it just spirals down into fucking insanity. So fucking good. Another kind of mystery serial killer thing, but on a different playing field. Not brutal, but I mean, the name of the movie is Creepy, which is kind of lame, but works because the movie is actually creepy. So highly recommend this. I mean, I know I talked about it on Twitter, and then people were like, "Oh yes, he's amazing," and I'm like, "Yes." I don't know why I haven't really watched and dove into his filmography before. I mean, I've known the guy existed. I think because he directed Pulse, which I really, really love. Oh, okay. And then he also did what is the other film? I think it was Tokyo Sonata I watched. I don't know how I watched that movie. It was just out of the blue I watched it. But anyways, I watched that and I enjoyed that. But I really want to see this movie that he did in the early or the late 80s called Sweet Home, but apparently it's like super unavailable. So I'm kind of pissed about that. So next up, Sean, this is for you.
How many more do you have? Jesus Christ.
I have like 1 million. So you're making me stay up, so I'm just going to stay up. So I'm surprised you haven't watched this yet. Is that you need to watch this movie called The Aftermath. So Steve Barkett did two. And Steph, you would like this too, for sure, because Sean probably won't like it. So Steve Barkett did like 2 films in his day. He did Empire of the Dark. Or that he directed. I think he only directed 2 films. Empire of the Dark and The Aftermath. The Aftermath is great because
I remember this. I've seen this poster.
It's like he had like something like Dark Star with O'Bannon and Carpenter, like how cheap they did that in the ship. Well, that's all you really see is the ship. I mean, they took muffin pans and turned them upside down for buttons, and a beach ball was a fucking alien. But imagine if they got off the ship. That's kind of what The Aftermath's like. So it's these astronauts that land on Earth, and Earth has been basically destroyed after a nuclear war. And it's filled with survivors, but they're all mutated, but not really, because they didn't have any makeup effects. It's just that they're mutated. And one of the lead guys is a guy named Cutter, who's played by Sid Haig. And it's just basically them going around and just killing everybody. And it's just Steve Barkett's character. And you like look at the poster and like this guy's ripped. Steve Barkett has like this dad bod on him.
I love it when they do that.
And he acts like the total badass, but he's like balding. And he looks like a soccer dad coach or something, and he's saving the world. But it was a rewatch for me because I haven't seen it since like VHS. Panos Cosmatos, director of Beyond the Black Rainbow and the upcoming Mandy, him and I talked about this movie quite a bit because these movies were very, very hard to find years ago, and hopefully they do Empire of the Dark because it's just as good. So the quote on the Blu-ray here, this is put out by
is it Code Red?
No, this is a BCI, so it's super cheap through BCI Entertainment. It's one of their retro titles, and it looks good. It's a decent transfer from what has existed. So I think it's like 2K from the negative, but it looks fantastic. However, the Blu-ray does look like a boot, but because of the cover. But I mean, it's totally legit. But anyways, such a great movie, Sean. You would probably love that because of the sci-fi
right up my
nerd
alley.
that you are. Yeah, no, it's totally you. So next up is Steph. I think you need to watch this movie.
Okay.
So since I'm not, brought up The Incredibles and not talking about straight horror and sci-fi like Sean wants, this movie was called Vazante, I believe is how it's pronounced. Sean, this is not for you because this movie is good.
Some artsy-fartsy bullshit.
Yeah, it's super artsy-fartsy. So, female director, which we'll focus on because it's just a fucking phenomenal movie. I mean, the cinematography in this movie is breathtaking. It's so fucking good. So it's set in, as soon as I say the year, Sean's going to eye roll. So it's set in Brazil in 1821. And it's about this guy who returns home to his wife, who owns kind of a plantation in Africa. And, in Brazil, but African slaves. And he arrives and his wife is dying. And so immediately she dies. He has the baby. He needs to remarry. And this is really weird. And don't let this turn anybody off if you're interested in this stuff. He marries his 14-year-old niece. And
What?
It really does. It does push a tiny bit of limits, but they're very careful of how they do it. And he's away. So it's basically her isolated with these people, these slaves that she friends and gets to know, while kind of her racist husband, quote unquote husband, is dispatched around the country, and then comes back and then tries to have a relationship with this young woman. It does get a little weird. But I mean, it's fucking devastating too. It hits so fucking hard. I love the ending of this movie. But it's a fantastic drama. It's paced really, really well. It does hit the 2-hour mark, but it doesn't feel like it. But it's just a really beautiful movie that has definitely pushes the boundaries quite a bit. But just a really all around great film. Cat o' Nine Tails is out on Blu-ray. Everybody's seen that, right?
Again, it has 5 Blu-ray releases.
Yeah, well, this one is apparently the best. So
okay, I can't keep up
because it's
Which
Arrow.
one? Oh yeah,
Arrow release. Super Troopers 2, not good at all.
Hilarious.
Oh, dude, are you serious?
Hilarious.
Dude, that's one of the you're fucking with me.
No, I had a lot of fun with it. I might have been smoking a little bit of stuff, but I watched it.
Yeah, the movie's terrible. That's pretty much all for the new stuff. I watched a lot of old stuff.
Dude, Super Troopers 2 is funny little follow-up. If you like Super Troopers 1, which is dumb as shit, but has one of the best openings I've ever seen in a comedy, Super Troopers 2 is it's not as funny, but it's fun.
The only funny part about that movie is when Chandrasekhar's character, whatever his name is, he takes those feminine pills. Because he's moving through the movie, and it's really fucking funny because they just keep overdoing it to the point where it's exhausting, but then it gets funny again. But they run that joke into the ground, just like everything else in the movie. It's
dumb, but it's fun. I mean, it does what a comedy should do, and it's just funny. It does not. It's dumb. It's dumb funny. It's good. It's good.
No.
Shut up, Brad.
A new movie that we have out, which I prefer to Revenge, is a movie called Animalistic. It is actually by the directors of Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich. They did a movie a few years ago very reminiscent to The Evil Dead, called Wither, which I consider a little bit better than The Evil Dead. It is one of the bloodiest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And they have another decent movie called Blood Runs Cold, kind of a slasher. So this is their third film. They did this before Puppet Master and Littlest Reich. I believe the other title originally was released called We Are Mothers, and which is not the best title in the world. I do like the title that we gave it, Animalistic. I'm not biased. But it is a better rape and revenge movie. Right? I'll just say revenge movie. It's really pushes the limits, but it also gets really down and dirty. And I believe that is how you should do it. In a way, I think there are some changes that could have been made. If you're on Vudu, you're safe. You can watch the rated version. If you want the unrated version, which does kind of go a little overboard, you can get the DVD through us. But if you want on the safe side...
Screamcast? What? Through Screamcast? Are we distribute movies now?
Yay.
What?
You said through us. Who's us?
Wild Eye release.
Wild Eye.
Oh, Wild Eye, because you're...
You wanted me to pitch a Wild Eye movie.
No, I said we're going to be talking about a Wild Eye movie.
Oh, I just did. Animalistic. There you go. All right. But
hey, everybody, if you guys haven't been paying attention, Brad has been doing some work for Wild Eye releasing. There we go. Is that all you've watched? Are you done yet? Are you done now?
I can call it quits right now.
Okay, I would like to go again.
Oh,
I finally watched Body Parts.
Yes. So good. Yeah.
I loved it, and I only bring that up because Brad told me to remind him to send me the work print version.
Oh, yeah,
reminding you.
All right, yeah, I'll have to because when we moved, I put all my hard drives away, and I have a digital work print of the movie. It's not that much different, but it does have like an extra 5 minutes, and it's a little bit gorier at times. A couple scenes are extended, which really work. I think I also have to send you link, right? Because I have the work, or it's not the work print of link. It's the extended. It's out, man. It's like the UK version of Link. It's not a work print though, but there's like 15 minutes in the Link.
By the way, everybody, if you want to watch Link, I believe the full movie is still up on YouTube. By some anonymous person.
Some unsavory fella.
Put it up on YouTube. I have no idea who did it. And also, if you're a Patreon member, a Club Scum member, it might be available through there as well. But Link is awesome. So
we will take that down immediately after it's released.
Watch it while you can. Someone needs to release that thing on Blu-ray because it's a fun movie. All right, are we ready to move on?
I mean, if we have Shockma, we should have Link.
Oh,
but
God, Shockma. God bless Shockma.
We should have Primal Rage. I think Primal Rage is getting a Blu-ray. But anyways.
Oh, hi. I'm Andrew Palmer with Rocksteady University. And I want to welcome you wonderful parents and these beautiful new freshmen to our amazing school. A school that kids are dying to get into. A place where your kids can learn a higher education. Safety is our highest priority. Your children are going to find friends that last a lifetime. What's got you waiting? Join us at Rocksteady University. And don't forget, bring your bike.
Here on the Screamcast, we pride ourselves in riveting interviews when we can get them. And I'm super excited to have on the Screamcast today the director and writer of Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Did you just use a question mark at the end of that?
As well as One Dark Night. I'm being facetious here.
Wow. Okay, it makes sense because you can't speak right now. That's fine.
I can't. Tom McLoughlin joins us on the Screamcast. Tom, welcome to the Screamcast.
Well, thank you very much. I'm the one that shouldn't be talking as a former mime. You know, all my communication, you have to look at me if you want to see what I have on my mind or on my mime.
Well, I mean, just it seems like recently a lot of people have been bringing up a lot of the Jason, the Friday the 13th films, and I saw it was a day or two that I saw a lot of people talking about Jason Lives, and so it was exciting kind of see all these films kind of coming back around. They're always on everyone's minds, and Jason Lives. I think Jason Lives is one of my favorite ones because this is once it gets to Jason Zombie or Zombie Jason, of course, these get to be my favorite films just because they just get really fun. So glad to have you with us. And the reason why we have you on it, you are in a film as you play the janitor in a film called Rock Steady Row.
Right.
We'll talk about this film, and I'm sure Brad and Stephanie have some other questions for you. But how did you get involved with this film here? And
yeah, the director, Trevor Stevens, was a student at Chapman University, Dodge College, and he was like one of those standout young directors that was just, amazing. And he made a short film called Run, which just kind of blew everybody away. And I have a band called The Sloths, and so I approached him about doing a music video, and I said, just listen to the album and whatever you want to do of any song, pick one. And he picked a song called One Way Out that we do. And, if anybody out there wants to see it, it's on YouTube, it's The Sloths, One Way Out. And he did a spectacular job on that. And then, he got a feature film and called me up and said, I got a part I'd love you to do if you're into acting again. And I said, yeah, it would be fun. I would love to, because my whole life as a kid was all around wanting to be Boris Karloff or Peter Lorre or Bela Lugosi, and of course, as a lot of people do, you identify with a movie based on the character that you like. And then eventually you find out that, they didn't just make that all up. They actually have writers and directors and producers and all that. So it was kind of going for me back to that childhood dream of getting to be this, kind of sinister, oddball character that collects bodies. And as we started shooting, Trevor just kept giving me more scenes to do, more things to get involved with, until I ended up actually narrating the film and kind of, I don't want to say what happens at the very end, but hopefully people will see it. But it was a great time, and it was a lot of, wonderful energy that all these guys had. And, he did some stuff that I was just blown away by with that film too. He's a very talented guy.
Awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the film because of it has this weird nostalgia thing going for it as well, kind of like this dystopian time between these colleges, but it's kind of set up like an old school Western too, Western influences. So it's when you first start it, you just kind of it's a little off-putting because it's so different. Like you're expecting maybe some college comedy, but the deeper that it goes, it has these unique, beats in the film, a unique look. And I think it was maybe 20 minutes in, I was like, holy shit, this is kind of set up like a Western. It has so many Western influences, but we're dealing with, fucking bros and jocks stealing bikes and, frat versus frat type thing. It was just very odd, and it really does stand out. Yeah, I was a big fan of it.
Yeah, it's a classic, mashup of this generation where you take, he's a great fan of the spaghetti westerns in particular. So a lot of those shots and things were a direct homage to those kinds of films. And he also wanted to say something about the whole college thing, having just graduated. So it's something that, we as, teachers of film and fans as well, always are talking about is, if you're going to steal something, steal from the things that influenced you, and be right up front about it, and which he is. And, but he put all these elements together in a way that it felt fresh. And, I had a similar thing happen with my Friday the 13th, because I was scared to death that the fans would hate the fact I put in all this comedy. But after all these years, what it's been, 32 years, I guess, it still works. I just saw, sold out screening of it, literally from last Friday the 13th, about a month ago, and hearing them laugh and scream and say the lines with with the characters, made for a much more fun and a little more timeless, of a piece. So, Trevor did a very similar thing. I think this film will be around for quite a while, because he's got, so many just cool things in there that are relatable over, I think a few generations.
Yeah, I agree. And go ahead, Steph.
Sorry, just what was that like? Because that's interesting that he's so young, and you were used to seeing him in a student aspect, and then actually being on the set and seeing how he worked. What was that like for you?
Seeing how Trevor does stuff?
Yeah, just with all your experience. Even he's very talented, but he's very new. I'm just wondering what it was like to see him work on the other side of the camera.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole thing with students now is, maybe it's my attitude. I'm still a student as far as I'm concerned, and I think you never stop learning. And as soon as you say, I think I got it all, you're dead, you're over, because there's always going to be something new if you're open to it. So it's kind of the way that we work at Dodge College, is that, we're very, very open to the input of the student, and they want to learn craft, they want to learn history, they want to be grounded in the rules, and yet at the same time, I try to stand back and say, look, learn the rules, so you have that structure down, but then as soon as you get out there, do everything you can to make it your own, break the rule, bend the rule, do whatever, which I think he did very much with Rocksteady Row. And blending a number of things. And I remember watching the different cuts. I think I was more impressed through the post-production, because being on the set, it felt like any professional set, except very few people, because, they didn't have much of a budget, so they didn't have, this army of people around, which made it a little more family, and a little more, intimate and fun, in that we're all kind of making a movie together like kids. And then in the post, there was so many of these different changes and effects, and the coloring and the sound effects and the music. As I was watching the layers kind of come into this thing, and when I finally saw it all together with an audience, I was like, wow, it just evolved, so much, from the edit, the kind of rough edit that I saw all the way to the final cut. And obviously audiences have responded quite well to it at film festivals and things, because it is so different. And I'm just very proud of him. I mean, he's just, a great guy. And so there's, just that admiring somebody that's, just starting his career, and all the possibilities that are still out there for him.
Stephanie, are you on to see if we're able to hear you, or did you bow out?
I'm not hearing anything, no.
We were having some technical difficulties with the Skype, so no problem. She sent me we're fine. She sent me some of her questions here, so Stephanie's typing to me. All right. How did so you were previously a mime, and how did that? I'm sure that kind of came in handy for you, but this was this role was more of a silent role for you, and did you kind of tap into the mime experience all the way back?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with it, of course, the way mime is looked at after all these years is, somebody in a white face bothering you in the park or someplace, or in the mall.
Right. And
it's become much more of an obnoxious thing than what was, what the real art of pantomime is. Mm-hmm. And I again, it's something that I teach the students, and it's also the name of my production company, Cinemime, because I really much believe in visual cinema. And D.W. Griffith was the first one to say, you know, film is the first universal language we have because we can talk to the world and everybody understands what's going on there because, you know, the good silent movies didn't have a lot of title cards. So you really were understanding based on mime, based on the way they, you know, their bodies spoke, the way their expressions were and things. So that was what really was most fascinating to me about the art. And the role of the janitor was one of those people that, you know, he doesn't say a lot. He stares. You can tell that, you know, the headmaster, you know, uses him more as a servant. And, you know, he's just particularly odd. And I remember thinking before I even, you know, got on the plane to go up to the location, I got to do some little touch of something that really is creepy about him. And, you know, I came up with the idea of kind of having the dead eye, you know, I have these lenses that make your eyes look like you're blind. And so I used one of those in there so that there was this just, you know, there's just one eye that really can see and look at you. And there was something kind of, you know, unusual about that. And then the fact that the jumpsuit I was in, you know, was very, very tight fitted, you know, for the choice that Trevor wanted for, I don't know what reason, but somehow he liked that idea that it wasn't, you know, it was kind of, you know, form fitting. I tried to just, you know, make my body look a little more down and out and humped over from pushing, you know, a cart and pushing brooms and stuff. So, you know, a lot of it just, you know, kind of came out of the physicality, you know, of the character and the fact that the job that he had was, you know, in essence, a cleanup guy, including cleaning up bodies. So it, you know, that all those elements together kind of just made him this, you know, very much a different person than anybody else on that set.
One of the biggest questions I've had is, I mean, you know, I know that you said you were under, you know, a lot of probably pressure and stress when, you know, taking the reins on a Friday the 13th film. But I mean, as for me, it's 3 and 6 have always been my favorite. 6 in particular, mainly because it's self-aware, it's funny. I was just curious of, you know, experimenting something with that, because obviously it's not set up like the previous films where it's just, you know, Jason going around. There's a lot of humor, a lot of dark comedy, a lot of breaking, you know, the wall and, you know, looking at the audience and kind of joking around. How much, like, or maybe anything just in particular that sticks out that you maybe tried or thought about, but you didn't execute in the final script or the film because maybe you thought it was too much? Because it feels like you did experiment with certain things in this film. Some stuff stuck, some stuff probably didn't. I didn't know if you could speak on behalf of that or not.
Sure. Well, first off, you know, the stress or pressure was really minimum on this, mainly because the executive producer, Frank Mancuso Jr., really handed me the reins and said, you know, make the movie that you want to make. So I wrote a treatment first and turned that in, and basically everything was great, except he didn't want the ending that I had, which was we meet Jason's father. And I just thought it would be just kind of a cool twist to put that on. But because of the previous movie, part 5, where the audience finds out at the end of the movie that it wasn't Jason, that it was this ambulance driver, and they were so livid about that, Frank was basically saying, look, we don't want this one to end with any chance of anybody feeling like, oh, from now on it's going to be Jason's dad. So it's like, you know, Jason is back. You brought him back. He's unstoppable. You know, we want the audience to know that. And I said, well, I'd love to get him, you know, back down in that lake where it started, so I could just, you know, use that kind of ghost tale. You know, goes back to so many films about, you know, how to, you know, get the dead to rest in peace. And probably most, you know, well known to the modern audiences with Poltergeist, you know, where they moved the headstones, but they didn't move the bodies. So you've got a whole bunch of, you know, restless spirits down there. So, you know, it's that thing of trying to, you know, create a mythology, you know, with this, and tried to tell a little more story than normal in that, you know, it starts with Tommy and he's got an agenda. And I sort of just kind of jumped past the part 5, other than he was in a institution for a number of years, and just get right into, he's got to see his body. He's got to know he's really down there, that he's not wandering around someplace and they buried some false person down there. And of course, in the act of doing that, he loses it, and then he causes Jason, who is perfectly happy to be dead and not killing and having the miserable life as an ugly man. So now Jason's got an agenda. Get this guy, and so anybody that gets in his path, obviously dies. So it's not quite as random that he just shows up places and kills people, that he's literally heading towards something. And, we do have the confrontation at the end. So it has a little more of a structure. I wouldn't say it's anything, major story wise, but it just had, a little more of each of the key characters had a reason for what they were doing and where they were going with it. The humor was something that when I brought that up, Frank sort of, looked at me like, you're not going to make fun of him. And I go, no. Jason stays the monster. In fact, he'll be more of a monster than ever before. But I just want the characters to, be fun and have a sense of humor. And I think doing part 6, let's be honest. How much longer can this thing go? We've got to, do something that's sort of, fun and break the fourth wall and kind of, jokingly put the audience down about having a strange idea of entertainment, and who would know that, we're heading towards part 13 now. That it, doubled, where it had been at that point when we all thought it was going to be going away sometime soon. But I just didn't know in terms of the fans, how they were going to take to it. So, and that was, continuous joy now that they're still really liking it. In terms of something that I wrote in the treatment but didn't do because I had, I sobered up, I guess you could say, was when Jason, kills the paintballers. And initially in the script, they were hunters. And so there was sort of this thing about, getting people that, enjoy killing animals. And Jason, tears off the arm of this one guy and he gets the machete, but he also, has like a utility belt with all these weapons. And he also had strapped on him an Uzi. So when the next time he saw Jason, he was marching to the woods with a fucking Uzi, strapped across him. So, a little nod to Rambo, as it was, I had CJ kind of doing a slight Terminator thing in the way he moved and things because of the electricity. I thought, he should move like he's just like a, electric power there. So the motorhome sequence then actually was when Jason came into that thing and he busted out, in front of Nikki. He just opened fire on her. And, the scene in The Godfather, when Sonny gets shot up, it was going to be just a bloodbath. And the same thing to the driver. And so ultimately the motorhome crashes because they've been riddled with bullets. But I started thinking that, sooner as I did it, that, this is not right. It's like, it's too easy. Anybody can get a weapon. Anybody can pull a trigger. It's not what I was trying to, I hate to say pride myself on, but I wanted all Jason's kills to be, superhuman. You can't turn the head all the way around and yank it off or decapitate 3 people, perfectly, or punch out a heart. All that was a result of Jason being, endowed with more strength than he's ever had before. So I thought, that's got to go. It just doesn't work. And kind of what came out of it was, I thought, particularly cool, pushing Dickie's head, through that thing, and it bends accordingly. And then, getting a bit of a dark joke on Court saying, "Hey, Nicky, listen to this." And the second he says, "Listen to this," the knife goes into his ear. And then, obviously the topper is just crashing the motor home. And then that iconic image of Jason standing on top of it like he's just slayed a dinosaur. And, I've always been, very happy that came out the way I envisioned it. And, it's a great image of, monster, standing there as the conqueror. So that's really the main thing, the father and, that particular sequence that changed from what was in the treatment.
Yeah, I'm torn because I really want to see Jason with an Uzi. But yeah, I agree that the pushing of the face with Nikki and stabbing Court in the head was just more Jason-esque.
Yeah.
Even though I really want to see him pull the trigger. And just one other question is, I'm always been a big Alice Cooper fan. How did that all come about? Really getting him to do a Friday the 13th song.
Well, that was again kind of a bit of luck. I think Alice's career was kind of slowing down around that time, as obviously as was Jason's, because of he was supposedly dead after part 4, and the way they resurrected him wasn't really him. So there was a chance to sort of redeem ourselves. And I don't know if Paramount approached Alice or if his record company said, Alice would love to do, the music. And we had already actually temped some of the songs with Alice songs because I was a fan and I knew him when he was Vincent in a group called the Naz, and we played on the same bill together here in Los Angeles at some of the clubs, but it was before, and I don't know if this is true or not. I'd heard Frank Zappa was the one who came up with the name of changing the Naz to Alice Cooper, which was the name of the whole group, and then eventually Vincent took on the name legally just for himself. But it just, it was the right vibe. It was the right feeling, the kind of stuff that he sings about and performs. So it was one day Frank walking in saying, what do you think about this? We got Alice, and I was like, happy days. So he wrote that song, which to me is, one of the cooler aspects of the movie, to go out on that, Jason, the man behind the mask is back. And, and that album also had a lot of other great songs on it, 2 of which we used, Hard Rock Summer and Teenage Frankenstein. And, it was the beginning of, Alice coming back too. And he's not stopped since. I mean, he's still, as big, if not bigger than he ever was.
Yeah, he just played near me and I missed it. And I'm very upset about that. One of these days I got to make it to see him again. I can't. When I saw a billboard, I was like, man, I can't believe Alice Cooper is still going, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
Back to Rocksteady Row. You're a fan of comedians, and you got to work with Larry Miller in this film because he plays the dean. How was it working with him on this movie?
Yeah. Oh, he's as the saying goes, one of the sweetest men you'll ever meet. I mean, and just naturally funny. He just he's just got that ability to say a line, and the way he says it is just hysterical. And he's just so easy and nice of a nice person to work with. And always respect, as actors know, there's nothing more important than having the other actor, be supportive of your role, and they're not just about themselves. And, he is that kind of guy. And I was, and still am, a huge fan of his work. But up to that point, all the things that I had seen, and I went, oh my God, this is going to be great. So I was really, really thrilled to be able to work with him.
Yeah, he fits roles like the Dean very nicely. It's just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny to hear him, because I've always heard he's a nice guy, but he plays such a prick in a lot of his roles, and he does it so well. And maybe it's that time he just unleashes because he doesn't do it in real life. Who knows? But yeah, he's great in pretty much everything he's in.
Well,
and Trevor was smart enough as a director to allow him to just improvise some stuff, just let the camera roll and he'd come up with stuff. So he had a wonderful, treasure chest of great lines and little things that Larry had added, into the dialogue, which, is making it his own, which is so important, that for a character. Really, the actor to own that character.
Have you gotten the itch to direct again? Is there anything that you're working on currently? What's coming up after this? Because I know Rocksteady Row is going to be playing at the Unnamed Film Festival. I had it right here. Let me see if I have the information, the exact dates here.
I know it's going to be playing at the ArcLight.
Okay.
In October here in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I don't know if that's for a festival or just that they're having a
That's
screening here in town.
Yeah. It's the Philadelphia Unnamed Film Festival, Saturday, September 8th. That's coming up within the next couple of weeks here.
Oh,
so
cool.
if you're in the Philly area, head over to unnamedfilmfestival.com. But so it's going to get released at the ArcLight. Do you have any information on any more theatrical releases for this film? Because it looks like it's kind of going the more independent route, where it's going to it's been playing festivals, and I'm hoping that it gets to more theaters as it kind of starts building some momentum.
It's a new company, I believe, that is doing, that made the film. And so I think they're just kind of continuing to try to build word of mouth and things with it.
It's Gunpowder Sky, right?
Sorry?
It's Gunpowder Sky is the guys that are behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
they're doing some good work.
I would think, the Slam Dance thing, winning that and winning the director and things would have really, kind of kicked it into the next, big year. But I talked to Trevor, I guess, a few weeks ago, and he said, no, they're still looking for, the best sale in terms of what to do with it. And in the meantime, they're just playing it at all these festivals and things, which, is smart because, if you just rush out and sell it to the first buyer, it could just be, a couple of theaters and then right to streaming and overdone.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing in the industry now. On one hand, there's so many more opportunities for directors than there was in, my day, which wasn't that long ago. And as I go back into it, I keep looking at, I used to be the young kid that, people would say, it's like, oh, what do you know? And now I'm looking at these guys going, I don't care what you know or what you think show me something, just do it, because that was, by some of my peers are frustrated by how they'll hire people out of film school before they'll hire somebody who's been doing it for 40 years. But I said, guys, we were those guys, and every year there's going to be another bus that pulls up with a whole bunch more, and you just got to embrace it. And if you care about cinema and you care about movies, it's like, let's make some more good ones. And then, we've got to prove to the world again that we can still do it. And to me, that's it's a new challenge. Either you're completely unknown and you got to prove yourself, or you're known. And I've done 42 movies at this point, feature films, most of them in cable and television, but I guess I've had 5 or 6 in features, and it's no different. That you do all these things and still it's like, what have you done lately? What's the thing you're doing, that we're going to have to see. So I'm writing, I've got one project that I can't talk about because I don't really have the rights to do it, but I'm plowing ahead with it anyway. And then a couple of other horror things that are very unique and, haven't been done. And that's usually the hardest, because people would rather have something that's already a franchise or already known. As you guys know, it's, the Marvel, movies and things, is that it's like, let's just start making up Marvel characters and putting the Marvel in front, and people will come. And they'll keep doing that for streaming. They'll do it for TV. They'll do it obviously for features. It's a huge cash cow that nobody wants to see go away. But I know I'm always applauding the guys that have $1.98 and they make something, that's really cool. And that's the thing I sort of push the students towards too. You're not going to have, the wherewithal, going to hand you a pen and a piece of paper. Let's see if you can be an artist.
Do you think that that Rocksteady Row will open up a whole new career of being a character actor in your students' films?
Well, I would mind at all doing that. And, it's something that would be probably kind of, hit and miss, depending. I love being a performer. I've got actually a new act that I'm doing that you'll hear about probably in the next month or so, because I just finished the promotional reel for it. But in the meantime, I'm doing a film in Austin, Texas, where I'm playing a very strange molester type character who ends up being this boy's monster. And so they did a head cast of me, and it's like a part of this incredible special effect creature, of which, my head, is audio animatronic. So I play the character, both in the reality and then in the fantasy of it. So, that I'm very excited about too, because this is literally getting to be a monster, and it's not me, it's me standing back, watching this thing move, going, do I really look that ugly? So, but, can't lie with the cast your face. That's you. But yeah, so there are some things happening like that are, that just keep things interesting. And the band, of course, getting out there rock and rolling, is just a real godsend to be able to get all my energy and frustrations and everything out on stage. Oh yeah, definitely. So that's been great. Have you guys been playing around LA, just in the LA area, or have you been kind of? Yeah, I mean, we get out to South by Southwest every year. We've been doing that for about 4 years now. And then, we play Northern California quite a bit, a lot, obviously Southern California, San Diego. And then we've gone to, I guess we've got as far as New Orleans. Haven't got beyond that, though. We really want to get out to the East Coast and definitely want to get to Florida. I haven't been to Florida since I was in Charo's act as her robot back in the 70s when, I played Miami. So, I love Florida. It's great. I love New York. I mean, all these places that, great to be doing rock and roll. That's awesome. I'll have to definitely keep an eye when you're playing next and try to make it out there. Definitely if you're in the Southern California area, for sure. Well, Tom, thank you so much for spending some time with us and talking to us about Rocksteady Row and your career and Jason Voorhees. We really appreciate the time and we're definitely wish you all the best with everything else you're doing and yeah, definitely I hope to see you at a rock and roll show for sure. Thank you so much. And again, my one takeaway with all these things is, guys, if you're listening and you have a dream, don't give it up. I mean, this rock and roll thing was something I wanted to do 50 years ago, and it finally happened just by not letting go of the dream, doing all this other stuff. But this in particular is a very bizarre thing to be doing when you're in your mid-60s and people are going, you're acting like you're a teenager. And I go, because I still feel like one. Yeah. That doesn't change. So, whatever you want to do, writing, directing, painting, anything in the arts or any dream that you have, you may have to do a lot of other jobs and have a lot of different careers because things change so rapidly, but keep holding on those dreams because it is possible to get there eventually. And it's a wonderful feeling to go, God, I've wanted this for a long time. And it finally happens. So, believe in yourself.
Katie slammed her door, fell on her bed. It was the way they said it, not what was said. Neither knew who or what their daughter really was. Katie texted Annie in need of a buzz. By 7:35, she was shotgunning Annie's truck, doing donuts in the dirt, neither giving a fuck. Annie lost control, spun the Ford into the creek. They laughed, Katie broke down and started to freak. Annie tossed her the vials, said, girl, let's fly out of here. They snorted every speck, made love and the pain disappeared. And it's one way out. One way out. One way out.
Well, let's jump in to some movies, our feature sections of the Screamcast. Let's jump into some VHS. Oh my God.
Nikki.
Well, here we are at last. Right where we ought to be. On video. Oh my
God! We are talking about 1986's The Ladies Club.
It could happen to any woman, anywhere, anytime. But it happened to them.
Something's got to be done.
They watched the law in action,
My God, they look like angels.
Only 2% of these guys ever get convicted.
and they've seen the guilty go free.
We feel that justice has been served, and that's all that's important to us.
They joined with a common cause. They're taking justice into their own hands and hitting them where it hurts. The Ladies Club.
I think I need to sit down for a minute.
It's not just coffee and cake anymore.
Brad, you had this on your list. I tweeted out that I was watching it. BJ Colangelo said this is one of her favorite films.
It's a really good rape and revenge movie.
Brad, I'm going to turn this over to you to set up the plot. Obviously, it's a rape revenge film called The Ladies Club, but there's a little more to it. And Brad, I'm going to turn it over to you to give us the plot synopsis. What makes this above just a standard rape revenge film?
Well, there's a lot of things that I love about The Ladies Club. And first and foremost, it's not as brutal and gruesome as you may think it might be on kind of the rape side. It's the revenge side that almost is comical because it's so badass. Like, you're laughing because of once it starts. So basically, it's this policewoman who has home intruders one night, and she is violently attacked. I mean, I guess that scene is a little heavy. So she's violently attacked, and then she basically goes to court, and these guys act like, you know, the best dudes in the world, and there's no charges. And, this movie is perfect because of the world we live in today with this Me Too movement. It's still relevant. Like, I mean, as soon as a woman says, "Oh, I'm raped," then of course dudes have to say, "Well, prove it." Well, what the fuck? You know? So, I mean, that's kind of how this movie is set up in that sense. And, these women are victims. So to take matters in their own hands, they form the Ladies Club, which will get information for previous cases of people that gotten off without any punishment, and they kidnap them, drug them, and they remove their fucking testicles.
So
and
awesome. What a great setup. It's just
they set them back in the wild after they're done. and like, you're sitting there and you're watching it, and they say this, and it's like, wait a second, are you for real? Like, this is so awesome. And I mean, it still holds up in that sense. And I think the poster is really great because I think it says, when the ladies get together, the men come apart. And it's
there's a few fantastic
Yeah,
posters
it
to this.
has
The
some
VHS
great
box is
artwork.
great, and the theatrical poster is fantastic.
I have
yeah.
the VHS somewhere in here, but but anyways, it's just it's a great setup, and it's definitely a different spin kind of on the rape revenge movies, and I like this idea of to the point where it's like they're kidnapping them, snipping them, and then putting them back in the wild like they're a fucking animal, which they are.
It starts out as kind of like a support group, you know what I mean? And
right,
it turns out one of them happens to be a surgeon or a doctor or something like that. So, and they kind of mention it as kind of like, well, we should just do this, like, out of anger. And then one of the women is like, yeah, we should do that.
Another film directed. No, okay, so here we go. Since I gave some shit about revenge. This is also directed by a woman.
But this is grounded. You know what I mean?
Right. But it's not that it's grounded in reality. That's not the reason why I dislike
God,
revenge.
I wish it was. Oh.
But that's not the reason why I dislike revenge. I don't like revenge based on storytelling. because I feel it doesn't do anything new. It just kind of feeds to that male gaze rape revenge movie. This, however, does something new, and it's from the fucking 80s. And there's nothing else like this still today, even though like so many people could have copied this movie. And like, it's so fucking good because it takes a different step in the direction of your normal rape and revenge movies. Like your rape revenge movies, you know, the incident happens, the violent incident happens. The woman tries to recover. Then she gears up in a commando scene and gets ready and goes after them. And then they die. This, they're setting them free out in the fucking wild. But now they're no longer a man. Like, or what makes a man? Their testicles? I don't fucking know. But I like to think.
Well, the testosterone is housed in the testicles.
But anyways, they're not able to be who they were, and they have to live with that. And that's a lot more like impactful than just slitting somebody's throat. You know,
I agree. Stephanie,
so Ladies Club is perfect. I want to hear Stephanie talk about it for the next
Stephanie,
hour.
what did you think about this? I've always said I would love
I said
the punishment,
Stephanie, not you.
The punishment of
Let Stephanie talk.
Castration is it should be a standard punishment. That's all I'm going to say. Stephanie, what do you think about the Ladies Club?
I loved it. And I agree. Like, you abuse it, you lose it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
To quote one of the poster taglines, men who attack women have two big problems. The Ladies Club is about to remove them both.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, going in, I was based on the title. It's a pretty benign title. I was thinking about this James Patterson series called The Women's Murder Club. And the guy's a total hack. And even if you've never read him, you've seen his name like all over the grocery store book sections, because those are the only books they sell anymore. But the first one was really good, called First to Die. And basically is one woman who is a medical examiner and one was a cop. And they're like, oh, we're not getting results on these murders. Let's like make our own club and we can figure these murders out. And now I know all he did was ripped off the Ladies Club. But I loved it. No, it was great. It, like, at first I was a little worried it'd be exploitative because that opening rape scene.
Yeah.
I will warn people, if that's hard for you to see, it's brutal. It's a hard watch. And the aftermath is actually covered. It's covered. They show what it does to you when you're in the hospital afterwards. And that actually heartened me. Like, I was tearing up as I watched it, but I'm like, okay, they're taking this seriously. And I loved it because it was so beautifully balanced. Because on one hand, you did get like, yeah, cut their balls off, you fucking rapist. You're going to burn in hell, but you're going to suffer before you do it. And oh, it delivers. But on the other hand, it's like these intelligent women who have been terrorized. And even when they get together, they're not like, yeah, we hate men, burn all men. You know, they're like, well, we're literally in the courtroom, like being spit on, you know, like none of us are getting justice. None of us are getting traction. Mm-hmm. We have to do something. And it is a little heightened because almost every man in this movie is a rapist. Not every single one, but most of them.
Not Bruce Davison.
Yeah, no, he's good.
Aren't all the women also like? Aren't they like they're all professionals in their own field? Like these are all intelligent women.
Oh yeah, no, these are, you know, they're wearing their shoulder pads at the meeting when they all gather together. Yeah, like, you know, they're not like wearing little outfits being like, oh, we're gonna get these men.
Right.
Like, it, you know, even though the premise is kind of like, yeah, men start getting castrated, it's about as realistic as you can do that premise. I really admired it. I enjoyed watching it. It was very well made, very well acted, but I you know, you also get that satisfaction. No, and I was really impressed they were able to deliver that without being exploitative or I don't know. It never talked down to you. It remained fun. It juggled a lot of juggled a lot of balls, sliced them all off, but it did it beautifully. Yeah, it was great.
A lot of balls in the air. It handled delicately. No, that's what I feel too. Like this, you really do get wrapped up in the drama of, and I don't mean that condescending. The drama, like you get wrapped up in the situation that these women, especially our lead character, the policewoman, goes through. You get that kind of PTSD. You get her staying in the hospital. It's so well done. It was almost so well done that I was like, I don't know if I'm in the mood for this right now. When I put it on, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm ready, because it does handle those aspects very realistically, and even from my perspective as being a man or whatever, but seeing these women come together and as this kind of support group, and I really do feel it handles all these relationships realistically, and it respects the relationships. It respects the movie respects these women, and really does show that, like I said, these are all intelligent, professional women, and they have this opportunity to basically right what they believe they've been wronged, and they were wronged by the court system, and they're going to take matters in their own hands as these kind of ball-ripping vigilantes. We talked about Bruce Davison, right?
Yeah. Just for a second.
Yeah, but it was fun to see him because of course, I remember him mostly from X-Men.
God!
But it was fun to see him and
James Avery is in it. The dad from Fresh Prince.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's in it, and then also he doesn't have a name, but he's one of the police officers. But Larry Drake is also in the movie.
Yeah, no, this is a fantastic film.
What I was going to say, when was Patterson wrote that book, Steph?
I can look it up, but I feel like it's probably the early 2000s.
Oh wow! Well, there's another film that I wanted to talk about. I should have mentioned this before. Kind of contrast and compare. There's a 12-year, I believe, like a 12 or 13-year difference between the films. That where a film in the 70s kind of did a similar plot in a way, which that could have ignited the idea for the Ladies Club, because this was directed by dudes. Kind of the same thing where a woman is raped, and then she finds other women that have been raped, and they form a vengeance squad. The movie's called Act of Vengeance, but that didn't do too well, so then they retitled it Rape Squad, which is really...
okay, I've heard of this one.
Yeah, not the best title, I would say, as Rape Squad, but so...
I like Vengeance Squad.
Vengeance Squad.
It's better than Rape Squad.
The Revenges.
Act of Vengeance is good. It's a good exploitation flick. It is heavy, very, very heavy in a sense. I mean, we're in the 70s now, so I mean, it's kind of anything goes. The guy that wears the mask and like he whistles jingle bells when he's doing shit. It's super creepy. But anyways, it's a good like kick in the nuts fight back movie as far as like women empowerment, but it also doesn't have what the Ladies Club has, because I truly believe this between the female and the male director. Because like Steph said, other than maybe the first sequence with the cop and the three guys, it's heavy because I think it wants to trap you and pull you into the film. Act of Vengeance is just brutal in that sense. And Ladies Club tends to kind of hit heavy in the beginning and then focus solely on the women, rather than, in Act of Vengeance where the guy, violently attacks somebody and then the woman comes back and then we violently attack somebody else and then the women come in. And it's just like on and off, on and off. You don't have to show that each time. That's the cool thing about the Ladies Club, is that even they have a montage of the ball snipping where they're just fucking, kidnapping dudes and then bringing them in with their procedure and setting them free. So kind of a film that shares a similar plot, but is different enough in the sense where it's not the same movie.
Yeah. I love that it's surgically castrated too. It's like they bring it like there's like a specialist that's going to surgically so
they don't die. I think that's great.
Yeah, they'll bleed out otherwise.
Yeah, so maybe watch both of the films and kind of contrast and compare and see kind of how I'm like even talking about. I'm glad we talked about revenge actually, because I do feel like an asshole saying what I said, but in the sense of, I don't see a difference between revenge and I Spit on Your Grave. I see a difference between Act of Vengeance and The Ladies Club.
Yeah. No, totally.
This is not like, well, I love Miss 45, but it's not
Miss
like
45
that kind
good
of.
too.
Yeah, it's not that kind of brutality or revenge film, and it's not I Spit on Your Grave or anything like that. This isn't going to sound like a compliment, but I actually mean it as a compliment. It sometimes feels like a TV movie.
Oh, Ladies Club totally feels like a TV movie.
Yeah.
But that just means that you're kind of
it's just
you're getting more involved with the characters, and that's the thing. Like where TV movies, I feel like they kind of, because of the budget, you have to care about the characters, and they have to kind of focus more on the character interaction and conversations than they do showing any bigger budget things. You know what I mean? So, but you really do get to care about the women in this film, and I think, that's definitely a compliment, because if we didn't care about these women, we wouldn't care about where things go from there. But you really do.
I would, Sean.
Well,
okay.
But I really do feel like I got to know these
I'm glad
the
you
women
took the asshole stick.
in this film. What?
I called the asshole stick.
We passed it off, and you were holding it, Sean.
Yeah, I was the asshole, but I redeemed myself because I got to explain myself a little bit better, comparing and contrasting, Act of Vengeance and Ladies Club.
I'm trying to give this film a compliment. Am I doing it wrong? I'm saying you get invested with the women in this film, and you really do care about, the ball snipping that is going to happen.
But I think they do a very, very good job of balancing a little bit of backstories, because we learn a few things. Even Nicholas Worth's character, who I think it's the same character in Don't Answer the Phone when he plays Kirk Smith.
Yes.
So because it's that same dude, and man, that is such a hard fucking scene to watch. Because it reminds me, like, it's just as bad. And I just rewatched this too. I rewatched Split, which I really, really fucking love Split up on the rewatch. I didn't like it when I saw it at Fantastic Fest. But the sequence when she's little and they're hunting and her uncle like is behind a rock, dude, that shit is so fucking cringeworthy. That hurts. And that's kind of like how a scene in the Ladies Club is. It does get a little rough, but at the same time, it's still, not going overboard, because I like how the Ladies Club doesn't do that again. We don't have to show that again. We know enough to know that these people are, or these men are, awful.
They weren't men before, and they're not men now.
Yeah, I feel like the film, this film is definitely ahead of its time. If you haven't seen this, track it down. I'm wondering if like this, why hasn't any distributor, really grabbed this film and given it a new life?
Because there's millions of films like this, Sean.
Well, no, but not really. Like I feel like this is the best portrayal that I think I've seen, like a rape revenge film. Like this is one of the best ones I've seen, where you really do get involved with the story, and I don't know, like I feel like this was just handled differently, and I really would love to see more people, check it out, because I really did love it.
You keep talking. I'll look for my tape and I'll tell you who owns it.
Yeah,
it says Media Home Entertainment
Connections, Brad.
Huron
Give me a birthday
Communications.
present.
New Line Cinema distributed the theatrical.
Huh.
So.
Well, that's back when they were little.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't.
So I don't know who bought up New Line Cinema, because they're not really doing too much these days.
Oh my god, it's at the very
yes,
fucking bottom. I can't get it.
Okay, don't worry about it. But because there's all these distributors listening to the Screamcast. Like this is us saying, hey, you guys should release this because I think you'll it's all about money. You'll make some money on it, and but I really think this is a film that people should seek out. And look, hey, if BJ Colangelo says this is one of her favorite films, that's like an automatic move to your watch list. Speaking of, while I'm talking about BJ, she has brought back Day of the Woman as a Patreon. And please, like, I don't know why it hasn't taken off, but she's been trying to get people to subscribe to Patreon.
Well, it's new.
Well, so let's spread the word. Everyone go check out BJ's Patreon. I'm trying to find it right now so I can get you guys
It was such an influential, amazing blog.
Yeah.
Like, such an amazing resource.
I'm finding it right now. Day of the Woman, patreon.com/Day of the Woman. It's $5 a month. And for starters, you can donate $1, but you're not going to get the full benefit of being a Patreon member. $5 a month. Her writing on these films and her perspective is so worth $5 a month. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes. And please, all of you, who gives a shit about Club Scum and us and whatever Screamcast? Seriously, she's doing so much more, and her writing, her perspective is so much better than anything we can offer.
I'm going to reveal a deep, dark secret right on this recording.
Okay.
Writers don't get paid a whole hell of a lot.
No, they don't.
So this stuff helps a lot.
And I think this is great. And I think, like, yeah, anybody can start up a blog, and she had the blog going for a while, but I think with her writing and her, the perspective of everything from a feminine view of horror and the way that she deconstructs some of these movies and the way that she writes, it's so worth it. So $5 a month, please become a Patreon member for Day of the Woman. You will not regret it. You'll have a lot of great insight to some really just amazing writing. And she's already put up today, is it the 20th? Yeah, she put up an article about Asia Argento and the things that have come to light about Asia Argento. So, and the Me Too movement. So, I mean, that's worth my $5 right there. Just seeing her perspective on that. So please go to patreon.com/Day of the Woman and give BJ some love. All right. Moving on. Everybody.
Okay.
Do we have anything else to say about the Ladies Club? I really, I'll put a link to it's on YouTube. You can find it there. I'll put a link to the one. Steph, did you watch the one with the Spanish subtitles, or is there a better one?
That's the one I found.
Okay. All right.
Brad didn't have a $500 VHS on eBay of it, so
yeah,
that's what I was stuck with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not gonna sell it either.
No, not at all, man. This thing that's a keeper. Hopefully someday somebody releases this on Blu-ray, and but I think right now it's all about rights, and someone needs to find that. But this seems like something right up like Vinegar Syndrome's alley or something like that. I really think that.
Well, I can tell you right now that this is not to the point where it's unavailable, because it looks like most of media stuff went to. Looks like it's all up for grabs, really. So
okay.
I don't think they've, because I can't see anybody buying it, because media released 457 movies on their label. Last one was in 92. So a lot of this stuff that's on here has been released. So it doesn't look like it would be too hard yet. I mean, I'll definitely look into it.
We could start Screamcast Pictures. Start out the Ladies Club.
Believe me, Brad and I have talked about it, but I have no idea how to even start something like that, and I would probably
we did talk about it. So that's and
we were talking about bringing Raiders of Atlantis to Blu-ray. Brad, remember?
Yeah, you can't. I've already tried.
Yeah,
because that's public domain.
Someday, I think Screamcast Pictures could be on the horizon, everybody, if we get the right investors. So email us, readme at thescreamcast.com if you want to become an investor partner into Screamcast Pictures. We'll get it done. Look, if Dread Central can start releasing horror movies, I think we can do it. I think we're on the level.
Well, we'd have to get bought out, but okay.
The tagline for the Ladies Club on the VHS is the rapists who attack these women are about to have their lives permanently altered.
Oh, fuck. That's true.
Yeah.
Gold after gold after gold.
All right. Let's move on to the next film we are going to talk about. Let's jump into some stream screams.
Nate, wake up!
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
Don't fucking scream at me!
If you scream, I'll break your neck.
Don't scream, miss. Don't scream.
Oh.
We got some Stephen King movies up in here. With the weird Maine accents, just talking like this.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna sit on my porch and talk about the boy that's crossing the street and gonna get hit by a truck. That's a wrong movie. Graveyard Shift.
Stephen King invites you to venture deep inside the caverns below the old Bachman Mill.
You're not thinking about going down in there.
Where a secret lies long forgotten by any living soul.
Just ain't no job worth this.
The workers suspected.
You can't put me down there. You can't put anybody down there. I know things.
The owner denies it.
What did happen to the fellow that started this job?
It didn't work out.
And everyone fears it.
This place is infested. That might be the understatement of the year.
Broken? Because one by one, it will devour them all.
We're like shrimp in an all-you-can-eat salad bar, and that thing ain't stopping till it's full.
Must be some other way out of here.
It's blood!
This isn't real.
This is the new horror from the mind of Stephen King. Graveyard Shift. Good benefits. Early retirement.
Was that Maine or the bank dick?
Is that the Maine accent?
No. Have you ever heard Stephen King talk?
Hi,
I'm Stephen King.
Hello, I'm Stephen King, and I talk with this weird, crazy New England accent.
No, you're W.C. Fields right now, dude.
God.
Well, there is so the Graveyard Shift from 1990, of course, based off the short story by Stephen King, directed by Ralph S. Singleton. There is the character of the boss played by Stephen Mach.
He does have an interesting.
He has a very strange accent, and it reminds me of
I'll
Pet
tell
Sematary and the Neighbor.
Yeah, it's that's what I was gonna say. It's what was his name from the Monsters? Fred Gwynn. It's Fred Gwynn meets Christopher Walken.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, man, this guy is just chewing it up. Like he is. I don't know if he's going overboard.
If Bomb remembers.
I don't know. Is that a real accent? If please let us know.
No.
I live out here in Southern California where they all talk like this. I'm just kidding.
No,
they don't.
Dude, he's the dad in Monster Squad. Yeah, that's not how he sounds.
No, I know. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, he's from Philly, so
you better not go up on the Pet Cemetery now.
Right. No, it's that accent, man. But this guy, this guy, he takes it to 11, and he's this sweaty, hard-ass boss. So Graveyard Shift, starring David Andrews and Kelly Wolfe, Stephen Mach. Brad Dourif's in it. Holy
Dourif?
shit.
Jesus.
Talk about chewing some scenery. Brad Dourif as the Exterminator is one of my new favorite characters of all time. I adored.
Yeah, you hardly notice that the Wishmaster's also in this movie.
Yeah, Andrew Divoff, baby.
Yeah. I haven't seen this film in a long time. I remember buying it. I bought it on DVD a long time ago at Walmart, because Walmart had this big old Halloween section back when stores used to sell like a shit ton of DVDs and everything, and they had all the Stephen King stuff on DVD, and I got the Graveyard Shift, and I remember I've seen it, but I hadn't seen it in so long. I feel like I forgot a whole bunch of it, but
dude, the cover used to fucking freak me out. It doesn't match the movie at all.
No.
And because it had that miner helmet, a skeleton and blood.
I do want to see the skeleton miner movie. Someone should make
Someone
that.
needs to do that. I had a lot of fun revisiting this. It did. The thing about Stephen King films is, even if it's based on a short story, I really feel like they kind of, for the most part, most of the ones that I've seen, they do get that vibe, and they all kind of have the same kind of vibe with the dialogue and the characters, where even if it doesn't fully work, you still kind of get a Stephen King kind of vibe from the film. And I had a lot of fun revisiting this movie. The opening.
They talk about Castle Rock, that's why.
Yeah, they talk about Castle Rock. With the guy working, of course, the Graveyard Shift, and this this mill or whatever they're doing, and all the rats everywhere. And Stephanie, we talked about rats on the last episode. Do you think rats were in peril in Graveyard Shift as much as in the Paul Naschy film, or what do you think?
No,
how many rats died by Diet Pepsi cans?
No, I hope not any. That was one thing. This is my first time seeing the movie, which is crazy because the first Stephen King book I ever read was the Night Shift collection of short stories. It's such a vivid memory. I read it on a plane. I was a young teenager, and that plane landed. I was like, oh my God. And so it was great. I think I get a little trepidatious about certain adaptations of his work, but this one I really enjoyed. But I was a little worried at first because they showed this lineup of the rats, and they were so cute. They're just wiggling their little noses at him, and I was like, come on, this isn't going to be scary. But don't worry, everybody, those cute little rats get pretty freaky pretty quickly. I've never heard anything negative about it, so I think by the time this came out and it being filmed in America, I'm telling myself 1990 standards kept those little guys alive. I hope.
Yeah, it's not no Milo and Otis thing, huh?
Oh, no.
Oh, come on. You had to bring up Milo and Otis on this?
Do you know the backstory behind Milo and Otis?
Yes, I know I
fucking awful.
I put Milo and Otis on because my wife is like, oh, I watched this as a kid and I loved it. And we put it on with the kids, and halfway through I was like, holy shit,
but
this
that
is
wasn't
not
filmed
going
in America,
well.
right?
I believe it was.
But I think they changed some laws once
because a bunch of the fucking animals died. That's why.
Yes, I know. It's awful.
It's like basically Milo 7 and Otis 8 because they all fucking died.
Oh, God.
Oh man! So the rats, we can probably say there was a rat wrangler involved in this. Even the giant bat rat. I would say that bat rat was safe.
No, we call it a brat.
Brat. Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Well, anyways, in the book, it is a bat. It's not a rat bat. It really is a bat. Even though
bats don't have that long rat tail.
I know. I think that was, but in the book, there's multiple. I believe.
Okay.
There's multiple of them. Also, in the book, I think everybody dies. But if I remember correctly,
spoiler alert.
Doesn't everybody die? Because because they're not really enemies in the movie or in the book.
No, it's not. It's just a short story, right? In the book, and I feel like the prologue to the film was basically the short story. Am I right, or was there more than that? It's been forever since I read that short story. Stephanie, you're the literary expert on this podcast.
No, it's been a very long time. I need to revisit it, but yeah, of course, his short stories are great for movies. Shawshank, that was a short story. Stand By Me, that was a shorter one. So yeah, like the Mangler, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's always interesting to see what people do with him, because Stephen King, he's so popular. He's like Pop-Tarts basically in America. But when you actually sit down and read his work, he's very distinct. No one writes like, even people who try.
His characters.
It's just, he's so unique. And I do love seeing how filmmakers will tackle that. And I think Graveyard Shift was pretty damn successful.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love they kind of build the world around this little town, and it's this mill. They take the cotton or whatever, and they're processing it so that they can use it for fabric.
It's kind of like My Bloody Valentine a little bit.
Right. And of course they're infested with rats, and they bring in Brad Dourif to basically exterminate the rats, and his idea is basically to flood the place and like suck all the rats through these tubes into the river. I'm like, how does that even make sense? Set some traps, put out some bait. I don't understand he has to be like the worst exterminator ever, because his methods are just ridiculous, and they don't seem to work.
It's competitive in those yellow pages, okay? He has to try.
So it gets down to, they are like, all right, well, this isn't working. We need to clear. For some reason, we're going to keep this mill going, even though people keep dying. And I'm looking at this place. I'm like, they just need to burn this fucker down and just build a new mill, because that'll cost just as much as the money they're spending on this extermination and revamping everything, going on in the
Willow
basement.
said the exact same thing, dude. I watched it with her, and she loved it, but she was just like looking. She's like, "What is this place? Just start over."
Yes,
it's management. It's terrible.
Yeah, the worst manager known to man. He's just awful. This womanizing, Trumpian type boss who's just thinks he's the shit.
Trumpian.
I don't know if I'd say that quite. He's a slime ball.
Definitely a slime ball. That's not even right. Trumpian means slime ball in my world. Disgusting, sweaty,
There's so many
macho man slime ball.
Though.
They
both have very stupid accents, though.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about it's a small little thing in this film, but when our main character is basically applying for a job, and he comes in and he is being interviewed, waiting for his interview with the boss, with our what's the boss's name? Warwick. And he's waiting there in the office, and he looks, and the coffee's been on since like probably 8 a.m, and it's probably like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock by now. And it's just, like when you leave a coffee pot on, it just gets like, it turns into this thick sludge. So you have that going, and then there's also like a fly inside of it, and he's like, what's the quote that he says about that coffee? Oh man, it's fantastic. Dang it!
Why didn't you remember it?
I had it, and somebody quoted it back to me, and I forget. It's something about like Anyway, but that is the small little detail just about that coffee, because you look at it and you're like, oof, that'll clear you out. He says something like, that'll clear you out or whatever,
Something like that, yeah.
But that's just a fantastic little detail that I really dug, because there's no way. I mean, I used to work for restaurants and everything. I've seen that old disgusting sludge coffee, and there's just no way I would ever drink that. And you feel that in that scene. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what I'm going
I have to give a quick shout out, because there's a lot of, flashy acting and set pieces in this. But Kelly Wolf as the character Jane in this movie, she's like there's like 2 women in the movie, and she's the one who works with the guys, and she's like, no, I'm going to go down there, man. It's double pay. And she's she's beautiful, but really grounded, and you completely buy her that she would be in this really like arduous, disgusting job. But I just loved her in this. I think she's my favorite character by far, and I really wish Kelly Wolf would have done more projects, because she's just so natural and she's captivating.
Yeah, she's great. Brad, do you have anything to say about the Graveyard Shift here?
Or Kelly
Wolf? No, I picked it. I
Kelly
loved
Wolf?
it. I picked the movie. Of course, I like it.
I love when they're finally down there in the basement and they decide that the way to, I guess, kill the rats is to shoot them with a fire hose. And that's obviously going to get rid of them. It's like all the extermination ideas just don't make any sense in the film, and spraying water everywhere just does not seem to be conducive to getting rid of rats. But the one guy, he's like the kind of the bigger, sleazy type guy that always picks on our main character, John Hall. I forget his name. I don't know if they really named him in the film, but they're always in the cafe giving him shit, and they give him that like rat sandwich. But he's down there and he's going, whoa, like freaking Rambo whenever he's like unleashing the hose on the rats. Just like, dude, get over yourself.
Surfing Safari playing while the rats are like hanging out to the wind. That is a Stephen King touch right there. That was great.
Man, this is great. This is streaming on Vudu. You can buy it in 1080p in HD. Beautiful HD. But I don't know if this has been scheduled for any Blu-ray release or anything like that, but you can get it in high def there. You can own it, you can rent it. But yeah, it looks pretty great, and I don't know. I just had a lot of fun revisiting this. This was one of the kind of, I don't know. How is this respected as far as the Stephen King canon of films? Where is this on the kind of the chart as far as really good adaptations to shit adaptations? I really dug it. I would put it more towards the top.
Yeah, I loved it. I think if you're talking about how it's regarded, it's actually pretty low. If it gets mentioned at all, people are like, "Oh, the giant rat movie." But if you actually sit down and watch it, but that was kind of the concept, and I think it's a nice, tight little, weird, grimy, fun little movie.
I love the creature design too. Like once I realized that it was like this bat thing, I was like, "Oh shit!" Because it kind of envelops somebody in its wings, and you're like, "Oh my god!" Like that moment is really cool, and I think they do a good job. Like you can tell it's kind of a lower budget, but I think they get a bang for their buck with the creature design. And with me, like monster movies are my thing, and when you can actually get a believable creature. I mean, you can tell they're kind of hiding some things. They're not showing the full creature in all its glory. But the way that they did it, like I really had a lot of fun with kind of seeing the creature when they finally reveal it and everything. And they kind of do a good job of kind of hiding it for the first part of the movie, like most, the whole Jaws concept of hiding the monster until the end of the film. And
they built to it really well.
I dug it. So awesome. Do you have anything else to say about Graveyard Shift, or Brad? You've been quiet on Graveyard Shift. I know you like it, but you've been kind of quiet. Are you falling asleep?
No. I'm agreeing with pretty much everything you say. I mean, I remember seeing it when I was a young kid, and I've always really liked it. And like, I feel it's a quick movie. It flows very, very well. It takes a couple unexpected deaths. It's good, fun creature effects. I hate rats. I'm kidding. I love rats. Who am I kidding?
I feel like even
it's a fun movie.
Yeah, even with the characters that are kind of despicable, you kind of still kind of like that they're there. They're written well enough, and it's entertaining enough that you actually. They're not completely off-putting, even though they are. You get their slime balls, but they're kind of endearing in a way.
When they're like, here's your lunch, and they serve him the rat on the burger. Like normally, I get so mad at movie bullies because I'm a little bit of an idiot, and I just get angry at mean people, even if they're fictional. But in this one, I'm like, so they took the time, they handled a rat,
right?
And they prepared a sandwich, and they like went through this whole thing for him to basically lift the napkin, look at them, and then drop the napkin.
Yeah, like who really came out on top in that situation? They had to get their hands dirty. Morons. But that's the part of the charm, because like they are just kind of these morons, and they're not
they
really
don't have
that
anything going on in their life.
Small towns are bullshit. Anyway. Hey, what's up, all you people from Garner, Iowa that I grew up in? You guys still there? You guys still in Garner? You go to the one bar? That one bar? You all working over at IMT? How's life going?
Man, throwing so much fucking shade on the
I
show.
know.
Fuck you, Iowa.
If we had any listeners in that town.
Damn, dude. Fucking Iowa listener just dropped.
The one listener. There's one really good, there's one awesome Iowa listener. That is the Mike. What's up, the Mike?
Yay!
We love you. So there's one good thing about Iowa.
But the rest of you can go to hell. No, I'm kidding. You're great. Never been there. Can't say a thing.
Iowa shit. All right, moving along. Let's jump into our feature presentation. The Forest of Bad Things that happen. Wait, what's it called?
It's Forest of Lost Souls. But
Hold
I wanted to go back because I remembered, because I'm looking at my tapes.
Okay.
I'm looking at my tapes. Also, there was another film, Steph, that you might enjoy. It's called A Gun for Jennifer.
Okay.
And it's another one where a woman is she's they're not, it's not really rape revenge, it's more like physical abuse. A woman's on the run, and she is from, I think, New York, and she moves to fucking Pennsylvania or Iowa or fucking Ohio or something like that. And then she gets in with these women, murderous women who go around killing abusive men. And on the tape, it says right here, let me pull it up. Tape says, "Dead men don't rape."
They
don't. Where is this available?
That's true.
It is. It is kind of a. It is. I guess it is rape revenge, but it's. I don't believe it's in the U.S. I think it's French, if I remember correctly.
Am I able to actually watch it, or
probably not legally?
You have the one copy of it, and you're recommending it to me.
He's about to sell it for $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, A Gun for Jennifer. I'll see if I can get you a copy. But just to clarify, the story's been done a few times, after probably Act of Vengeance, if there's something before the 70s. But yeah, that was the other, because I knew that there was another one. I just haven't watched it in a while. I'll probably watch it soon. But yeah, awesome. Gun for Jennifer. It's really good.
Gun for Jennifer. Don't tell my wife about this film.
I get it.
Dead men don't rape.
Dead men don't rape. That's a great tagline, because they don't. They really don't. There's just no way. Because there's the heart's not pumping. There's no blood flowing.
All right.
They cannot get an erection at all.
God. Jesus, dude.
All right. Let's jump into our feature presentation. Wild Eyes release of The Forest of Lost Souls. Now,
yay!
This is directed by Jose Pedro Lopez. Lopez? Is that right?
You go right ahead,
Lopes.
Sean.
You should know.
No,
you're the wild eye expert.
Dude.
You live in California.
Well,
why would you say
no, but I'm
Lopes?
confused because usually Lopez ends with a Z. This ends with an S. So I don't know if it's Lopes or Lopez.
Portuguese, man.
So
fucking Portuguese, bro.
It's Portuguese. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I should know this because I'm part Portuguese.
No, you're not.
I am.
Not now.
I legitimately am. All my ancestors would be basically kicking my ass right now. To my great pappy, I'm sorry. That's not a Portuguese word.
My pappy. You can't even say that right.
Look, I'm Americanized. I have no idea. All I know is like my mom told me.
No,
I'm part
you're not
Portuguese.
Americanized. You're fucking white.
Yeah, no, 100%. So when people say you got Portuguese heritage, I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm like freaking white as fuck. So I'm all I don't
white AF.
Yeah. Anyway, so Portuguese. That's funny. I just assumed this was Spanish the whole time. I suck. So the Force of Lost Souls. I'm all about being truthful on this podcast. I'm not gonna try to put up a front. And if I'm a total asshole and an idiot, that's just how I come across right now. And I'm sorry. Apologies, all around. But this is available right now on streaming on Amazon Prime. This is going to be getting a physical release, and but right now, like I said, you can get it. You can rent it for a few bucks on Amazon Prime. And in October, the Blu-ray was Blu-ray, right? This is going to get a Blu-ray release.
Yep, doing a Blu-ray.
None of these bullshit DVD only Walmart Wild Eye releases.
Oh my god. Because I heard if you watch a movie on DVD, the movie's not good.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you buy it at Walmart. All right, I'm being facetious. I apologize. Facetious.
You're being facetious.
I'm being. Hey, y'all want to talk about some fajitas?
No.
In case this is Spanish Mexican movie called Force Lost
Souls. You can't. You need to stop. You need to stop.
Can we just talk about the fucking movie?
I'm done. I apologize. That's the IPA I'm drinking talking.
Please don't hold this against the movie, everybody. It's really beautiful.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no.
Completely...
How about if you're not allowed to talk anymore?
Nah, I'm done. I'm trying to turn it over to you guys. I keep fucking it all up. So I'm sorry.
Steph, would you please talk about Force of Lost Souls?
Okay. Well, see, I was judging and now I'm the spot. I'm on the spot.
I'm taking a deep breath. Stephanie, go. This really is a beautiful film. Really well shot.
I said Stephanie. You're doing it again.
Stephanie, what do you think?
Well, I wasn't sure what to expect. I usually like to go into movies as blind as possible. And I didn't even get the scoop from Brad or anything. I looked at the poster. I was like, oh, it's like artistic. And, maybe it's about this young girl who's like one with the wilderness or something. And the beginning of it, they're in a forest that's notorious for people going there to commit suicide. And there's a man there. He's middle-aged, and we're not given much background on him at the beginning. We just know he's decided to end his life. And he runs into this, is she about like 1920, I think?
Yeah, something like that.
I had to guess. And she's sassy, and she visits the forest a lot. She knows it well. She's suicidal herself, but she hasn't quite gone through with it. And they forge what seems to be kind of an interesting, unusual short-term friendship based on this incredibly unusual circumstance they're both in. But then the film, I really don't want to ruin anything. It's short and so impactful. And I really, even though I went in blind, I didn't get an inkling of where it was going at all. And when it took a big turn, wow. I really like this. But yeah, it seems like a very meditative, like, it's going to be kind of a dreamlike artsy film because it's really beautiful. It's in a very unusual setting for a horror or even a thriller film. And I guess the second half of it, you could almost say it becomes slightly more conventional in a really unconventional way. And that sounds like kind of a trite statement, but I really don't want to give anything away, but it was really unexpected. It beautifully shot, beautifully acted. I thought the pacing was incredible because it gives you kind of that lulling, you're almost like floating through it. And then it throws in some shocks almost feels like someone's kind of, when you're floating on water, it kind of shoves you over. And you're like, whoa, what happened? And you look around and nothing's there. And you let yourself relax a little bit again. You float along a little bit more and you get disturbed again. And I just really enjoyed the journey. A very unique film. I really enjoy it. I have no idea if anything I said made sense. There's a lot of violence going on, but
no, it was beautiful how you were explaining it stuff. Now I'm of course biased on the thing. I was a fan of the film before any of the Wild Eye stuff. I got to see it early, maybe it was late last year. I got to see it, and I was actually helping program a festival, and I was sent the movie, and it hit me, and I was like, man, this is so good. It's 70 minutes. It's so well paced, so quick. It has a huge twist in it. Like it kind of hits you like on your butt. You don't really expect the kind of the turn of events that happen, and I fell in love with it then and there, and I've been a supporter ever since. And it's got a fantastic score as well. It's just everything about it, and I mean, it does look art. Like that's the thing, is that we have so many films that, as horror films go, we have a really good scary film. We have a really good, maybe intense film. We have a film that has a great soundtrack. We have a film that has great cinematography, but all that stuff kind of isn't blended together sometimes. And that's kind of what Forest of Lost Souls is. It has everything that you want in horror film, other than being maybe overly scary in this one, because it's not. But
it's more disturbing, I think, than scary. You know what I mean? Like there's just this kind of sense
there's some disturbing qualities about the film for sure.
Yeah, it's not it's not a scary film, but it definitely, there's a sense of
perturbing.
Yeah, it's disturbing, and there is a little sense of dread kind of lingering,
What'd you think, Sean?
I really respect. I started this whole segment off like a complete moron, and I apologize. But in all seriousness, this film, like, it's a beautifully shot film. I really respect the director. I think this is a really good calling card for Jose Pedro Lopez. And I really want to see what he does next, because I connected the most with, in the beginning of the film, with the girl and the old guy, and on those conversations, I was hooked because you're exploring the idea of suicide. Like, what would bring this guy out to this forest to basically want to end himself? And there's kind of this like weird macabre humor, dialogue going back and forth between the two characters. And I was really wrapped up in that. And as the film moved forward, I kind of it does take a turn, and I wasn't along for the ride once it takes the turn, because I really loved the beginning setup and this idea of two strangers meeting in this like suicide forest. Like, that's such a fantastic premise. So I kind of wasn't going along with it once it kind of takes a turn, but I really do respect the film, and it's short enough that I would definitely give it another shot. It's only 70 minutes, but there's so many ideas, and even like philosophical ideas in this 70 minutes that it's almost warrants a second watch, because there is a lot going on beneath the surface. It's not just some, horror film or shocker or anything like that. Like, you are intrigued at what's going on. And I do love our main character, this girl. I'm not sure what was her name. The main character, Carolina. She's fantastic, and you really do kind of, you're intrigued by her, and you're kind of don't know what to think about her, and as you kind of go on the journey through the film, I'm trying to say all this without giving anything away, because I really do think people need to go into this completely blind and just enjoy this film for what it is. But it definitely is. It feels like something that I would have gone to some small little artsy art theater. And I went to a lot when I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma for a while, and we would go to all these. There was a cool little nightlife in the middle of Oklahoma, which is a crazy, barren state. But Tulsa and even Oklahoma City,
that's
there's
where
a cool.
Hanson is from.
Yeah, exactly. I ran into them a couple times, but there is a kind of a cool little art scene, and I would go to these small little screenings of like Gus Van Sant films and things like that back before whatever that Ben Affleck movie was, and Matt Damon or whatever, I don't know, but we would watch films like this, and this feels like a film that would be discovered in that kind of setting, and I'm really kind of excited to see more people discover this, because I do want to see what his next film will be. So it wasn't like, as a whole, I wasn't completely enraptured by the film, but there's enough in it for me to really respect it, and to really hope that, like, I really hope this director has a long and successful career, because I think there is a lot of talent in this little 70-minute film that I almost need to kind of unpack it again. But it's definitely worth watching. I didn't really connect with it as a whole, but I do think I have a lot of respect for it. That's where I'm at.
Cool.
So sling a few bucks his way and rent it. And Brad, are they now? Is Wild Eye including? Because this is a film I would want to kind of dig into. Is there commentary or anything like that they're working on, or what are the specs for the Blu-ray once it comes out? Because this is a film I'd really love to kind of dig into on a deeper level.
I don't think anything has been official yet, but It will have special features. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, because this is one. So, this is a film that would want to kind of let simmer and really kind of dig into what went into the film and the philosophy behind it, and even like this idea of this forest where people go to commit suicide. I know that there was a movie called The Forest, which took place in Japan, that had this kind of idea, but that film didn't really land. The idea was greater than the film itself. So I really do love that idea, and I think there's a lot to be explored through that. So I think they did a pretty good job of exploring that in this film.
Yay.
Yeah, and if you want to get really crass with the marketing, you can use Logan Paul.
Yikes.
Oh, man.
Don't get so silent after that, man. I'm trying to be edgy here. I need your guys' support.
Well, this is like the thing about this film is like it's such a like disturbing subject, and something that does cause for kind of some pause. Like you're kind of like, this is a place where people go to off themselves. You know what I mean? Like that's like a really, if you think about when you stop to kind of think about it, like it's a very deep subject to just start thinking about, and what would bring someone to a place in their life to go off and just, kill themselves, and who would find them in this forest. And there's just so much going on with that idea that I just love the idea. And I wish they would have kind of stuck with that idea more, but I don't know how you can make a feature-length film out of that idea with what they were doing here. But I do really respect it. I'm saying respect a lot on this film, but but the cinematography is fantastic. The black and white cinematography is just fantastic. Every frame is a work of art in this film, especially when she's when there's with her and the lake, and then walking into the lake, and like that cinematography is just, it's all fantastic. It's really beautiful. It's a beautiful film.
Thank you for the kind words.
I feel like I'm talking too much right now. But yeah, check it out.
A little bit.
Check it out, everybody. Amazon Prime. And you can rent it for... I'm trying to find the prices of this. I think I paid like
$7.99 to buy, $3.99 to rent.
Oh, $3.99. Rent
Blu-ray
it for
in
$3.99.
October.
Blu-ray October 9th or something, I think.
Yeah. Brad, if I can implore you to, once you find out what the features are, if you can let us know.
I will text you immediately.
Because for me, that's something like...
Text me first.
A lot of times in films like this, like that really helps me kind of, I guess, I don't know, sometimes when you kind of learn more about a film and the ideas behind it, it does enhance the film. And that's something that, like, in a film like this, immediately I would have gone straight to the special features and watched whatever they had. And I didn't have that available.
It was our first theatrical film.
Huh?
Our first theatrical film that we've released.
Yeah.
How do you guys open it? Like
what?
What was your release strategy with it?
I mean, it hits, it's a lot of art house theaters, smaller theaters. It gets into more theaters. It's still opening. It's still coming to places. I know it opens in Chicago on the 30th. So I mean, it's still running. It still has, a few screens here and there, but it's mostly big cities.
Okay. Yeah, check it out.
So,
I would love to see. I would love to be able to go to an event and see this in like an art house type setting. I mean, it really does lend itself to that, and it reminds me of. I live in like suburbia out in Southern California. I'm away from all the art house stuff, and this is a film that when thinking back to when I used to go to a lot of art house theaters, like this is something that I would definitely would love to see and discuss. Like this is a discussion film. And whenever I would see films like this, we would head out to the coffee shop or grab a beer or whatever and just talk about the film. And like this definitely does lend itself to that, while also being, having this kind of horror, underlying horror to the film.
You drunk?
What?
Are you drunk?
I am not drunk. No. Am I talking too much?
No, I'm just asking.
I would love to drink some beers and talk about this film with like-minded people for sure.
I'll talk with you about it. Okay. I'm biased, of course, but
Well, in this case, I think your bias is warranted. I think definitely people should check this out. And if you have a chance to see that, I'm going a long way around of saying if you have a chance to see this in an art house theater near you, if you're in an area that has that, definitely grab everyone you can, head out and see it, and have some awesome discussion afterwards. That's all I'm saying. So that's really what I'm trying to get at.
I'm glad you liked it.
All right. Anything else to say about the Forest of Lost Souls? Speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm taking that as a no.
You did all the talking. You did all the talking.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was just talking because no one else was. And I'm trying to make up for my assholery in introducing the film.
You did a great job.
Did I redeem myself? That was the goal.
Beautiful.
To redeem myself for the horrific opening. Stephanie, thank you for jumping in and saving that segment.
Yeah, Stephanie is lovely, as usual.
I tried.
All right, it is getting late. We need to start wrapping up. This has been the longest episode ever. I think we're on hour number 7 on the Screamcast, so we're going to start wrapping up. I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors. You can head over to thescreamcast.com/sponsors. Of course, Vinegar Syndrome. We need to give them a huge shout out. We're going to be doing a Vinegar Syndrome extravaganza very soon. I have a stack of movies I need to start watching, and that will happen very soon. So keep your eyes open for that. I do need to delete on their website the link to Exploitation TV. And I've tried to get them on record talking about it, but apparently that is dead. or dying. May it rest in peace. But I believe, I think Shudder took some films, and I think there's another streaming service that's going to be picking up some of the X-rated films. So I want to, on the next Vinegar Syndrome episode, I want to try to get them to talk about it. And because when I tried bringing it up last time, when I had them on, they didn't want to talk about it because shit was hitting the fan.
It's on Amazon Prime, and the bluer movies are on hotmovies.com.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. So check them out, give them some love with that. But yeah, it's sad. I mean, running a streaming service is tough, and it's whatever. It is what it is. Also, give Coffee Shop of Horrors some love. You can put in the code Screamcast and get 10% off of your order. Also, as always, a huge shout out to grindhousevideo.com. Check them out for all of your exploitation and horror needs, your sci-fi, B-movies, all that shit. Good stuff. Say hello to Mike. If you're in the area, the Tampa area, definitely check out the brick and mortar store. I'm always jealous when people start posting pictures of their visits to the store. Music, of course, by Wolfman of Mars, and our design, artwork, and all that shit done by Kevin Spencer. Huge shout out to him. Of course, if you want to support the podcast, we would love to keep doing this. We'd love to keep growing. We'd love to be able to start offering more exclusives to members of Club Scum. Let's see here. Where did it go? I want to give a shout out to our newest Club Scum member, Rob Rubinate, our newest Club Scum member. Thank you, Rob. You will be getting a official Club Scum card and some stickers very soon. All right, I think that's going to do it for this week's Screamcast. I want to thank all of you for listening. Head over to thescreamcast.com and click on the shop link. Buy some merch. Buy some Screamcast merch. If you're a Club Scum member, you get like a 20% discount on some mugs and stickers and stuff. So I mean, come on. I mean, that's awesome, right? It's late. I'm done talking. We'll talk to all of you guys next time.
It was beautiful. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. The party's just begun.